Guess he didn't drag D in here.
Stuck here?
Oh, you there? Oh, okay. I couldn't see you on my app. I see this singer, Mooch and Tim, but I don't see you. But you're here. Okay.
What a show we got for you guys tonight. It's going to be a great show. We got an outstanding panel. By the way, guys, just a little insider note here. We did some audio tests before the show went live. That's why we were about 5 minutes late tonight. I need the audience. I need my audio engineers out there to let me know. I made some adjustments. Let me know how my audio is. I'm expecting that you'll say the panel sounds fantastic, but I'm wondering if I lowered mine to a point where you guys can't hear me. Let me know how the audio is for you guys. Is the voice coming through clear? Is it loud enough? I mean, we can always make Mooch louder. You guys know that. That being said, what an outstanding show we do have for you guys. A lot of news broke in the past 48 hours. Some of it really a surprise, to be honest with you. That interview that Phil did, we're going to talk about a lot of the things that he had mentioned during that interview, and then ask the question, where did this interview come from? We're not even really sure. That being said, guys, look at that outstanding description. If you will, take a look at that synopsis of tonight's show. Right above that is the join button.
Mooch,
yes.
I can tell you where the interview came from.
Where'd it come from, crap?
Okay, so the big heads at Microsoft were like, Phil, there's a lot of chatter going on. We might sell some Xboxes this holiday. We need you to go out and squash that shit ASAP, man. And he was out there and was like, got it, man. I'm on that shit. Let me go squash any kind of momentum we might have and just end shit. That's basically what happened. So
crap.
I was there, man. I heard it all. It's true.
You heard it all, crap. That's basically the first half of the show. I'm glad you kind of put everybody in the Cliff's notes there. I appreciate that, crap.
Yeah, that's basically what happened, man. It's all a op. Right, like, so. Listen. You have to, like, okay, when they kill, and I'll bring this. And trust me, I got a whole shit ton to say. I feel sorry for the other members, but like, trust me, when they wanted to end Xbox Live Gold, what did they do? They made it so shitty that people didn't care when they ended it.
That's right.
Right, they did not care.
That's right.
They're making Xbox so irrelevant, so shitty, right, that people are going to leave and they're not going to care about it, and they're going to get less flack when they do shut shit down. That's basically what's going to happen. So you look at things now, it's like, how can we, make things even shittier? Well, let's just go ahead and say our games can go to PlayStation whenever. Any game can. Halo, Gears, Forza, whatever game can, right? It doesn't matter. And it can play best on the PS5 Pro, right?
Yeah,
and, and the funny thing is that people still will defend that shit. You know what I mean? It's absolutely fucking ridiculous.
It is. And I mean, shout out to Aaron in the chat. Aaron, I appreciate you being here, but it really is interesting. So he says here, and I want to get to the intros in a second. He says, so all you care is if the games go to Xbox. Ponies, are you okay? Aaron, the whole point of having the box that you bought for $500 are that games do go to your console of choice, at least first. If they start going day and date, and the entire catalog goes to another console, plus that other console has exclusives that are even, and I know we have the great Death Singer here, the PC representation, but even if it goes there a year later to PC, you still have a one console stop shop, which is PS5 right now, where you can get your Xbox games, your PlayStation games, right, before any other platform.
And here's the problem too, which is that people that don't believe that it's going to go day and date at some point to PlayStation are fooling themselves. Just like I can remember Tim getting shit on when he was like, all these games are going to go when the 4 got announced in February, right? And then people are like, you're lying, blah blah blah. Why would they do that? And now people's cope is, well, we'll get it first. Like, why would the whole idea behind releasing a Halo or a Gears or a Forza on PlayStation would be player counts, right? You'd want a large player base, and so they would release them day one. Okay.
Yeah.
The reason why Indiana Jones isn't day one is because they likely stopped or never started development on that game at a point, because remember, it was going to be exclusive, and they changed that from the time of the FTC trial to now to be in multi-platform. So whenever it comes to PlayStation 5, whether it be 3 or 6 months, that's probably just going to be the time it takes to port it. Okay.
Yep.
When you look at Doom, that was probably developed side by side. And so it's going to come out on both, you know, at the same time. Going forward, when you look at it, you know, like Halo is now going to be done on Unreal Engine. These games are going to come day one, you know, to PlayStation. It's just factual.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like there's no ifs, ands, or buts about this right now. They're going to want it to go there because they see stuff like Call of Duty. Like Call of Duty is a very like blinding thing. You see that, right? You see Call of Duty.
Got a lot to say today, huh?
Yeah. You see Call of Duty.
D, I don't know about you, but I was just cooking up some a pasta dish.
Listen, you see Call of Duty, right? You're Xbox, you're Microsoft. You see Call of Duty blowing up, doing all these numbers, right? And you go, well, all games would do that, right? No, they wouldn't. You know, it's just that's not going to happen. Halo wouldn't do that because Halo's not what it used to be. You know what I mean? Like you might sell a little bit here or there, but let's just be honest. There's a lot more competition on the PlayStation because of the PlayStation exclusives and, you know, on the multiplats and all that kind of stuff. So nobody's going to like go and buy the latest Halo in the droves for millions and millions. I don't believe so anyway, or even Gears of War. You know, I don't think that would happen. Yeah.
Can I do my intro, brother?
Yeah. Go ahead, man. Let's get your.
Here, I'll make it real quick. I'll make it real quick for everybody. We got a great panel. You already know. Crap. I was trying to avoid that crap intro because I knew Crap was going to take the show. That's Crap Gamer, everybody. In case you didn't know. Shout out to everybody that's here, guys. Please hit the like button. Tweet it out. Let everybody know we're here. I'll do quick. Crap's here. The great D-Back is here. Dead Singer, J-Dub, of course, Tim Dog, and we have hopefully Nib95 joining us shortly. All right. So you know, guys, I'll go to you real quick because I know D wanted to get a couple words in here. D, you hear where Crap's coming from. We got no red line from Xbox on games that could be coming over. Too early to decide if the next Halo will be on PlayStation. These are from Phil's interview. Still interested in some acquisitions, but one, you know, that are geography. He said diversity. He said no acquisition currently in the works. These other ones are kind of smaller, but I mean, an Xbox Portable, we'll talk about that later. But D, when it comes down to it, I was watching a lot of videos, and I know Crap answered it, and he answered it sarcastically, but true. Where did this interview come from? I mean, it was kind of out of nowhere. I mean, I saw people saying, Phil, you don't need to talk anymore.
Yeah, it came out of nowhere. And, you know, if I'm just being honest, you know, taking a step back and just looking at everything, I think he was told to go out there and say that. I think they're going full forward with this whole initiative. And I just want to add to, like, you know, some of the points that Crap Gamer was making. One thing that really annoys me the most is that, you know, and whatever, I just got to be me, man. Guys out there, my detractors that say I have no reason to be mad, y'all can kiss my ass because I've been supporting Xbox for like 20 to 25 years. I've been there through the ups, the downs, the highs, the lows.
Yeah.
I bought every single console. I've seen them every step of the way. I was day one Xbox Live before half of these guys could even like put together a sentence. So, you know, I have every right to feel the way that I feel. And I feel Crap Gamer's anger and disgust because as an Xbox gamer, it's disgusting because they basically have, you know, abandoned the console base. Now, all of these console guys that you were touting the numbers, you know, you're making fun of the PlayStation 5 Pro and all of this stuff when, you know, you can't even get your own house in order and you just accept everything. And I'm going to be like really harsh today. I like it, not all the fans, because there's a lot of common sense fans that make some good points. But I'm talking like, you know, the morons, you know, the super fans that just are a super cult.
There's this group of the group of fans, they cheer the Microsoft, not Xbox.
Yeah,
that's the problem.
Yeah. These guys, to me, honestly, I liken them to like a guy whose wife is always cheating on him. And, you know, he takes his wife back and he knows that his wife is doing him wrong. And, you know, he sees the neighbor the next day that, you know, his wife cheated on and he's like, everything is cool. That's how I liken these guys too. I got like no respect for them. If you really cared about the brand, you would say something. You would stand up for what you believe in, for what you've spent years defending and investing your money into. And to see these guys, it's like, it's okay. Microsoft is going to make more money. Yeah, Microsoft is going to make more money. They're going to sell more games, for sure. They're going to put their games on everything. But you know what it's going to come at the cost of? It's going to come the cost of the platform, of the Xbox console. Now, if you could get a PlayStation 5, that has all of these fantastic exclusives. You can get a PlayStation 5 Pro that's going to play all of the console games at higher fidelity, all the first-party games, all of the Microsoft games that'll go over there. It'll play them better. If you can get that, why are you going to get an Xbox when you're going to get their games plus the games on the PlayStation?
Yeah.
You know, I understand their standpoint from a business, but I think they didn't even try to see this thing go forward. And I'm going to be honest, they're still going to be around next generation. I see people saying, oh, they're not going to make consoles. They are going to make consoles. But if the next generation Xbox doesn't sell gangbuster numbers, they're going to get out of the console race completely, and they're just going to be a third-party publisher developer. That's the risk that they are taking here. Now, they got a chance. I'm not going to be like completely ignorant. They have a chance. If their next generation console is as powerful as they say it is, and they can convince gamers that, hey, you're going to get the best versions of console games and our Xbox games, and you're going to get Xbox Game Pass here, and if they can convey that and they can prove that, then they have a chance. But if they fail, I'm telling you, that's going to be the last Xbox console. So I don't want to say it's all done, but as far as exclusives are concerned, it's done. They're bringing the whole slate over. This guy, people are out there like coping. This is what drives me insane. They asked him about freaking Halo. Halo is the holy grail to Xbox. They asked him about Halo, and he said, you know what? It's too early to rule that out. Freaking Halo. So that means that Gears, that means that everything else, it's coming. We know that Gears is like a soft reboot. They're going back to day one. We're hearing rumors that Halo is going to be like that too, because they're switching to Unreal Engine 5. My business hat on, honestly, yeah, it makes sense to bring those games to those platforms because those people can enjoy those games from day one and enjoy the stories and all the crap that we've been enjoying for all the years. So it would make sense from a business standpoint. But once again, at the cost of the console, because if those games are available on PlayStation 5, PlayStation 5 Pro, if Xbox is everywhere and everything, what's the point of owning an Xbox? There's no point to owning that console. You might as well just get a PC. You might as well just get another console. It will kill the console if they don't convince gamers next generation with a huge, powerful system that just wows everybody. Straight up.
And D, I'm glad you said that because at the end, I saw you going back and forth all day yesterday and some today. And the thing I think where the lines are blurred here a bit is a lot of people say, I see a lot of the Xbox camp that I've known for a long time, they all have switched, a majority, not all, majority have switched over to PC. And they're like, well, what's the problem? You just get a PC. The point you're driving home, and Tim, I want to get Tim's point on here because, Crap spoke about it, you did, is the console. This majority of us play on console. I have a PC. J-Dub, everybody knows that Jay has a very capable PC. Same thing with D. But there's times when I prefer to play on console. I don't have as strong a PC as Death Singer and Jay and D, but to be honest with you, my PC would play games just fine, but I still prefer to play on console. I know a lot of PC guys scratch their head and say, I don't know why you prefer that. I don't know why. I grew up on console. Console's still that's the thing that you hear the passion about from Crap and D. And Tim, I want to give you the mic right now. I mean, Tim, you kind of came out and said this was the last straw. It was January, February of this year. And,
February, actually.
Yeah, and I mean, it was just because at that point you saw the writing on the wall. And I think Tim D was right. I think Phil did this interview because much like he had to do the Xbox Business podcast in February, I think he had to go out there and say this. And by saying no red lines for Xbox games going to other platforms, any game could go. That was the door officially opening, right, Tim?
100%. You'll probably hear in the next couple of weeks. I'm assuming that you're getting some PS5 ports, about 4 Starfields and those games. Listen. Hellblade 2 is already, it's all coming. I'm going to give you a little story, my insight, give you a little background about me. So I was like a huge super fan, and I was recognized within all of Xbox. And Phil took a really big liking to me. We used to play on the weekends. I would set up meetings to play games with him. We were cool. So around January, I heard this talk, and I kind of had a bad feeling in my stomach. So I sent an email to Phil, and his answer kind of just, I knew where it was going. So in February, I was faced with either be a puppet and, tout the company line, which if I did, I'm going to give you how it would have went. I would have been probably have 95,000 followers at this point. I probably would have got flown out to E3, given complete, accessibility, everything, treated like the number one fan. Meet Phil this weekend for during the week, because we used to meet up when he was in New York. I knew that was on the line, but I looked at all that and I said, you know what? For me, it's better to be honest than be something like that, because it would have been, selfish of me to do that. And that's when I basically turned on them. And I knew when I turned on them I knew exactly what they were doing. And what got me mad was the way they presented everything, the way they leaked it, the way they were cowardly about it, the way they had that podcast and they lied to everyone. And I said everyone that they're lying, and I was killed. And I was killed when the podcast came out, because he had this comment like, we're not in the business of, if you think you're a PlayStation, or whatever stupid comment he had, where it basically implied that
because it doesn't mean they're all coming over, which was ironic, because he said the same thing about when they go to PC. He goes, not every game will go to PC, which was, I mean, the lies at this point are ridiculous. I can also find this other clip where he was on IGN interview with Ryan McCaffrey, and this was when games were starting to get ported to the Switch. I think it was like Cuphead or something, and he goes, well, we would like to I'd like to set a better precedent than have our fans guessing at which games are going to go elsewhere, right? We can do better than that, right? He's like, I mean, he said stuff like that, which is obvious lies, right? Many times, and it came back to bite him in the ass, because so many people, Tim, were like calling you out and saying you were lying. It's just 4 games, and you and me and a lot of other people were like, you think it's 4 games, I got a bridge to sell you, because you know what I'm saying? Like, it's obviously going to be a lot more than that. And honestly, you're right. Like, prepare. If you're an Xbox fan, prepare for the Starfield, and not only that, but prepare for these games to run and look best on the PS5 Pro.
Yes. So when I just want to just finish this. So when that all happened, basically lost followers, was hated on. But you know what? I had self-dignity to tell everyone what they were doing, and I blindsided them because they didn't think I would do that. And I knew what they were going to do, and basically what I said and Crap said, I would say he was along with me. We detailed this, and there was a vision. There was parts of hope where they were like, E3 was really good, and then a week later something comes out, and then they have the Indiana Jones thing that had the multi-plat. But yeah, they are going full-fledged third party. I would think that everything from Avowed, maybe that might be timed, but you're going to start to see day and day. And you know what? At this point, I think they have to, because they've eroded their console base so bad, and they just keep publicly killing themselves. Like today with this, what is your asshole? I don't understand it. It's just like it's comical at this point. They get some good news, like the Call of Duty news that there was maybe they had the most platform was Xbox, and I'm like, you know what, something bad's gonna come, and then sure enough, and that's the life of an Xbox fan. Like, you're given like a little bit of hope, and then you just trounced and made a fool out of. And that's what happened today. And, they're just tone deaf. I mean, showing cats and Beano boxes, like, nobody wants to see that. Like, you're better off saying Xbox everywhere and focal, give your focal point to the console.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. They're going to have a handheld, but I don't know how their hardware is. I know that they were working on super resolution 2021, which was like PSSR, but people don't understand the reason why Pro is a very good thing too. Is now it gets PSSR into the fold, and developers are getting used to it, and they're going to have a step up when they have PS6.
That's right.
Where Xbox now, they didn't do the mid-gen, they're behind. Who knows what they did with super resolution? They probably just canned it because they know that nobody's going to use it. Developers aren't going to use it. Third parties not going to use it. So they just probably another thing that they, velocity architecture, all this shit that they talked about is not being used. So listen, if you're a PC guy, you're in. If you're a console guy, you're out. That's basically where they're heading. And I knew this in February, and I told everyone in February that this would be the case. And like I'm telling everyone, Starfield's going. I think Perfect Dark will probably be day and date. You're going to start first. You'll see the cadence where it's like on Xbox in 6 months. But if I was them in February, I would just came out and come up with a timed exclusivity package and just try to sell the fans and do not abandon the console.
Yeah, they lied through their fucking teeth.
They've lied and lied and lied and lied.
It's caught up to them. That's why people wouldn't no matter what they do now, nobody would really trust them. They would need like a complete overhaul. From top to bottom, you know what I mean? And then somebody with a clear plan and things like that, because, a lot of people go to me and they go, well, crap, Starfield didn't sell any more consoles. I'm like, listen, this is the plan that would have worked. They would have had to stick with it and set this plan into motion for 4 to 5 years. They would have had to stick with it, which is release great games. I'm not talking about 80 rated games. And I know people don't buy into the rating system, but high rated games make people kind of go, and buy into it. A good example of this is I don't believe anybody on the console side would have gave 2 fucks about Baldur's Gate 3, right? Most people on console don't care about top down games, right? This game scores really high. It's in the game of the year conversation. All of a sudden people on console want to play it. Right? Same shit would have happened if Microsoft would have had if Starfield would have been what it should have been, a 90+ rated game, and it was that earth-shattering, amazing experience, it would have sold consoles. And then if you would have had a great Forza game after that, instead of that half-assed one, and that would have been 90+ rated. Another, boom, people start to pay attention. Boom, you come into this year, if you would have had Hellblade 2 and it would have been, higher rated than just like a game that actually took steps back from the first one, despite having a bigger budget and more people and more time, then boom, then you start rolling it in, and then you didn't delay a Val, and that's great, and then you didn't delay, you know what I'm saying, and then you have this, and then the Game Pass news with Call of Duty, and then Indie, right, and you keep that exclusive, and the ball keeps rolling for years and years and years, and that's how you build up that kind of trust. Not by going, okay, well, we're at Gamescom and our one more fucking thing is, by the way, Indiana Jones is coming to PlayStation 5. That's not how you build up trust. That's not how you do anything. And here's the thing that I want to point out. I love the Xbox. The Xbox is great. The fucking company behind it is utter garbage. Right? That's the problem. Like, good things can still happen for Xbox, right? They've got some good looking games that are coming out and things like that. Yeah. The problem is that the Microsoft are a bunch of fuck ups that change what they want to do every 3 to 5 months. So in February, they went from not all games are going to come, and we're starting with 4. 8 months later, every game, including Halo, there's no line whatsoever. You know what I mean? And they got this whole thing with everything's an Xbox. Even if you don't like Jez Gordon, he tweeted out something really interesting today about this whole everything's an Xbox. He said the main issue is xCloud is not an Xbox. Asus ROG Ally is not an Xbox. PC is not an Xbox. I can't run 99% of my games on these devices. That couldn't be further from Xbox right now. They might be someday, but they're marketing based on plans that haven't even been realized or possible. So, that's from a guy who's an Xbox fan, writes for Windows Central, right? Like, I mean, he's being honest about this. Yeah. So, look, a phone isn't an Xbox, right? Can I boot up my fucking, every game in my collection from? No. You know what I'm saying? Can I do that with any? No, I can't. So again, it's not an Xbox, right?
But with their advertising though, crap literally says the opposite of that. They're saying all those things are. Yes. So I agree with Jez and your point. Yeah.
But anyone here sitting here and arguing, okay, let me go ahead and say this. Anyone who championed Xbox from the very beginning just did not have the luxury or had the common sense of looking at hindsight. Microsoft has never been, is not, and will never be a hardware platform, period. Okay, you look at the history of Microsoft, and it is rife with hardware fuck ups left and right. Okay, should we bring up the idea of Zune again? Should we start that shit again? Okay, really?
Windows Phone, all that shit.
Yeah.
Well, they only had one. The one thing they had was 360, and they had the fucking.
They had shit.
That was the one thing.
The fucking clock is right twice a day, ain't it? So shit, that don't mean nothing, So what I'm saying is, look, yeah, be a fan of their games. Don't be a fan of their hardware because they don't have a hardware. Okay. Yep. And what you're looking at right now is 3 divergent platforms. Okay. You're looking at these games are getting really fucking expensive to get made. And they're and especially your single player games, they are having a harder and harder time showing the percentage of profit that they used to show because the cost of making these suckers are much bigger now. And so every one of these companies are looking for alternative business models. You want exclusivity? Stay on Nintendo. They're the only company doing exclusives. Period. All right, that's the only company where
Sony's not going to put anything on Xbox.
It's not on Xbox, but you can play it on an alternate platform. Nintendo,
but it's not a console. You know, there's like console gamers that are just going to play on console, and it's not. That's not really going day and date or anything. There's
but what I'm saying is,
area there.
But what I'm saying is, if you want only console exclusive, that is the console for you. Period. That is the only company that is demanding that in order to get their IP, you have to get their game. I mean, you have to get their platform. Period. Even PlayStation, PlayStation is now used to be like that, but not as much anymore.
Wise, you really do have to break down what Crap just said, though, because what you're speaking is the community and Twitter speaking right there. Now, I understand what you're saying. You're saying, if you really want to be only exclusive, there are people who only play on console-wise. And you have to understand.
I am that person. I only play on console.
Right. So it doesn't matter. PlayStation can put it on PC a year, 2 years, 3 years later. That's fine.
It won't make a difference to me.
It doesn't matter. The point of the matter is what the question is when you hear Phil come out and say, hey, guess what? In 2-3 years from now, we're going to have an Xbox handheld. In 2-3 years from now, we're going to have new technology in the form of an Xbox. What you heard D, Tim, and Crap say is, why would you buy one? Those games are going to be on PlayStation. So the point of the matter is we want to own an Xbox, but they literally every day push the Xbox owner further and further away. That's the point.
They're not interested in hardware, then don't do hardware.
They're doing it on purpose. Y'all do understand that, right?
No, they're scared.
This is not by fluke. They're not. Listen, you don't become the world's richest company, right? By being dumb with your products, by not knowing the product, by not knowing the market, by not know what they're doing. They know exactly what they're doing. The problem is they bought ABK, they bought ZeniMax. They finally figured out that they weren't going to be able to get their money back in enough time. And in order to push that time frame forward, right? They could have easily made all those games exclusive on Xbox. They could have, made Game Pass where it's just exclusive and it's all these games are exclusive. That would have grew the hardware, but they didn't want to give it more years. They didn't want to give it more time. They're tired of the investment. They're tired of waiting another generation or another generation. They're tired. They want their money back ASAP. And so the only way they're going to do that is to put their games on the world's largest install bases, which is Nintendo and PlayStation. And it is what it is. Now, here's the thing. They're doing this stuff on purpose. They're trying to desensitize. They're trying to incentivize you to incentivize, you. They don't want people buying Xboxes because the more people that buy Xboxes, the harder it is going to be for them to move on from the hardware. So they're hoping that you move on to PlayStation or the Switch or PC or any place else. Because guess what? Either way, they're going to get your money. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter. They're going to get your money one way or the other. And here's the thing. In order for them to make that handheld, in order for them to make that next generation console, it's going to cost billions more of R&D. And they know they're going to sell less of those than they sold this generation. And this generation is selling even less than it did the previous generation. So they know this. They got the numbers. They see exactly what we see.
They still got to sell their games. So that's why they're putting it everywhere.
They're going to sell the games.
Yeah.
I think they're hedging their bets that the next generation system is going to keep them in the game. Now, for what I'm hearing, it won't. The next gen
two generations in a row, they had the world's most powerful console. It didn't matter.
The next, without going into too much details, because that's like
D. Let's say they stuck a 4090. Let's say they stuck a 4090 in their next generation because it won't matter. Gamers don't give a shit about it.
Let me just say this. I think that they're hedging their bets on the next generation system that it will still sell. I think if it doesn't sell, they're getting out. And then they have a contingency plan, which is these games everywhere. They'll be making money anyways. Who cares? I don't think they're intentionally going into this saying, we don't care if the hardware dies. They don't want the hardware to die.
Why are they doing what they did today? Why are they doing this consistently?
Because they're going to make more money, and they're about the money. Microsoft has always been about the money, and this is not about the console base. The way they're thinking is that we think they'll be fine, but if they're not, we're still going to be making tons of money anyways, and our games are going to live on. I think that's their attitude. Now, the next generation console, without getting big details into it, is supposed to be substantially like it's like something else. And they're also going to be integrating Steam into it. So if I'm not saying it won't be successful. I'm not saying it will be successful. I'm saying if it is successful, then they'll be able to carry on if they can show gamers that this is the best place to pay your consoles. Yada yada yada. I think the strategy will change if they're getting out of the console game. Like, you know, if it's a failure, then you're going to see everything just coming day and date to everything. If that console is like being able to be sustained, I think you're going to see like a 6-month window. I think you're going to see a 6-month window of games being on Xbox first to say to Xbox fans, hey,
why can't they just say that?
You get. Hold on a second. You get the game 6 months early. You get to enjoy it on Xbox before everybody else. If you're a Game Pass subscriber, it's in your service, and then 6 months give it to anywhere else, because they would have to do that, because if they did it, they would completely piss off the base. There's going to be some games that will be day and date. But I don't think all the games are going to be day and date until there is actually no more Xbox console.
Hey, crap, doesn't that sound familiar? Yeah. We used to say that all the time, but we said it about Game Pass. We're like, why not stagger it 12 months and make it so you have to buy it before you have to do the service?
Though, right?
We said that same thing, D. Different topic. Yeah. D's talking about more on the... He's talking more about the ownership of the Xbox, but I'm just saying, like, having the Xbox and having games go day one to Game Pass, that's the other thing that no one likes to talk about. They really don't bring it up, but Game Pass also had an effect on this. They really did.
Yeah, 100% it did.
Yes.
The big problem is that they're not going to stagger a Halo or Gears or Forza. They're going to want those big numbers.
Like COD.
Yeah, to say day one, day one we had 1 million or 2 million concurrent players across PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo, and PC. That's what they're looking for, right? They're not, so they aren't going to stagger those games. They
crap.
Won't. Yeah,
crap. As an Xbox guy, did you ever and Tim, like, because like I don't care what people want to say about us because we have different opinions and we're pissed off. We know we've been freaking day one Xbox guys. Yeah. Now, as day one Xbox guys, like, is this not all so surreal? Like, did you ever think the day would come? Like, apart from Tim sounding the alarm, 6 months ago, did you ever think the day would come that we would even be having this discussion of a Halo game going on PlayStation? It's ridiculous.
No, I got a better question for all three of y'all. What was your reaction? This was expected. Okay, this is the same song he's been singing since, with a different verse, since the beginning of the year. Okay, when he said, and he went on record and he said officially that I don't care how good of a game it is, it's not going to sell consoles. Good games don't sell consoles. What did you say then? Because that was all you really needed to know.
I said the way he was phrasing it from like day one, like he's been pussyfooting into it. So it was never a clear message for everyone to think that. And I think even though most of us, like when they announced
you just didn't listen to it.
When they announced, hold on, let me tell you how I felt. The first 4 games that he announced, I sounded the alarm. I was like, yo, I don't think all the games are going to come, but if you guys think that just 4 games are going to come, you guys are crazy. And I thought there would be a freaking red line of like Halo, Gears, Forza, Fable. I thought there would be a freaking red line with those games. I thought that Starfield would go. I thought some of those other games, but those games specifically, I thought would never ever come up in the discussion. And 90% of people thought that.
Those are the only decent games they got.
But when the CEO goes on record and being third place disavows the business model of the first and second place company, it tells you what you need to say.
Well, he said they wanted to compete and that they do exclusives.
Nobody
thought they were going to bring. Come on,
listen. The bottom line was that I mean, there was a lot of people who did think the red line. I knew. Listen, when you do this, when you go third party and say, "Hey, let's try things out," you're going to taste it and you're going to be like, "Oh, okay." Now, when they listen, COD, say what you want. It's been a success for them. They're going to have a good quarter because of it. So what do you think that they say? They say, look, the multi-strategy pro works. Let's just do it with everything. and that's what they're full head on. 2025
That's
is
short term
gonna be
gain, though. That's
yeah,
the problem.
but
I mean,
agreed for not for long term. But
yeah.
what's going to happen? I'm telling you, is in 2025, you're going to have an unreal amount of games coming to PlayStation. They're going to just accelerate this, and then it's just going to get to a point where it's day and date. And it makes sense, I think, for them to be day and date at this point because, unlike I've heard they're doing a console, but I think that they're focused on this handheld, which I think will fail. But I think they're going to have this handheld, and they're going to take it from there. So I don't.
The better
I don't
handheld
know.
would be the Switch too, because it's going to be cheaper. And it's going to have all the Xbox games and shit anyway. And all the Nintendo stuff, which is way better than Xbox games anyway. But here's the thing, right? So a lot of people go, oh, well, they're a trillions-dollar company. Let's let them cook. They know better. They've been a trillion, they've been this huge company for 20-odd years and haven't cooked, right? So I think, if you just listen to the fans a little bit, they could be in a little bit better place. Like, okay, they talk a good game. We're going to have hardware and stuff. But why would anybody buy an Xbox when you can play those games on PlayStation and even Nintendo, right? If you're a console owner, and you're going to also get Nintendo games on Nintendo or PlayStation games on PlayStation, and people will go Game Pass. But what this year, seriously, if you're an Xbox fan, even what first-party games has Microsoft released this year that makes Game Pass worth paying $250 a year for you, right? Like they released a $40 Hellblade 2 that was kind of shitty. Right, like it was a 4 or 5 hour game or whatever. It was nothing special. Call of Duty. Some people buy that, some people don't. Whatever the case may be. Like, so if you say those two things, I don't know what else to say. Maybe for me, it's just like it's not really worth it. It's a rental service, and in 4 years, you pay $1,000.
Let me ask you guys.
I would say up until the fall season, it was kind of really scarce, the stuff that was in there. I will say. The stuff that's coming out like in the next few weeks, like Stalker 2, Flight Simulator, Indiana Jones, I think Sniper, some other games. I think it made up for the value at the end of the year, but I'm also stacked for like years, so it doesn't affect me as much. But I think towards the end, they are kind of giving you the value, and I think going forward, they are going to give value. I'm going to be honest here. I don't think that Game Pass is going anywhere. I don't think Xbox as a company is going anywhere. I think they're going to make a shitload. They're going to make they're going to make more money. They're going to be more successful. They are.
They're a third party.
It's just going to happen. It's just the console. It has a strong possibility of being a casualty of war.
Well, as a parent,
with Game Pass,
but let me say this: as a parent,
because it's going to be on PC still. They're going to have a next generation. PC Game Pass is doing well. That's not true.
No, but it's not growing at all, though.
It is growing. That's not true.
But the majority of their Game Pass subs,
Game Pass is no, man. Game Pass is
look it up.
Game Pass is growing more on PC than it is on console.
No, you can look it up. Hey,
this. I don't want to argue on this. This season,
I get what you're saying.
This season with Call of Duty. With Call of Duty being in there, I'm telling you, your Game Pass subscriber numbers are going up. The service is doing good. What I'm trying to say to you here is that they're going to make money. It's the console that can be a casualty because for the rest of this generation, most people are not going to pick up an Xbox console opposed to a PlayStation 5, especially knowing that the games are coming over to PlayStation 5. Okay. So that's going to hurt. That's going to hurt sales there. The next generation, they have a chance still.
Okay, so let me just say that you're saying the console will be a casualty. If they announced 34 million subscribers on Game Pass, right? They announced 34 million. Mm-hmm. That was after they force converted 14 million gold subscribers who were only console to Game Pass, right? So we know that they had lost millions of subscribers because they had 25 million officially announced before they did that. 25 plus 14 is 39, but they announced 34. After they converted
33.
So that means that they've lost 5 to 6 million subscribers in 1.5 years from the time they announced 25 million subs. So to me, and they said the majority of the subscribers are, and then you take the 14 million from console that were gold and switch over. That means if you have a casualty of a console, you're losing 20, maybe more million subscribers to Game Pass.
No. See, that doesn't work like that crap.
For one, I'm telling you, like, I don't know where you're getting your numbers from, but at least from now until March, you're going to see a huge bump in Game Pass numbers for starters. Number two, Game Pass, unfortunately, it's not just held to the damn console. You can play it on PC. You don't even need to have the freaking console. You can use it on your Fire TV. You can use it on your Samsung TV.
And nobody's doing that.
Use it. You can use it, but you can use it on your phone. Some people are.
Yeah, but nobody in the millions
Listen,
but people are. So I'm just saying, there's a way for
Game
Game Pass to
hit a
go
bump
past the console.
I think they have a bump, but I just want to say this: they're projecting, or they want 75 million subscribers by 2027. They are not getting that.
No,
I'm sure they're not going to come close to that. So
yeah,
they
got to be at 50 million by 2026, and they got to be at 100 million by 2030, according to the leaks in the case. In the ABK case, that's what it is.
Okay, so the ABK case is where I got the 14 million gold subscriber number from.
Yeah,
because that came out, and then they got forced over to the lower tier Game Pass, and then they're like, we have 33 million right in February, and they haven't announced any. If they did, I mean, they go, hey, we had our biggest sign up ever day one thanks to Call of Duty, but they didn't elaborate, right? They never elaborate on any of this stuff. And what would have driven people to Game Pass previously before that would have been Starfield, I guess. Right, but how many people? And they never elaborated then either. Is it 100,000, 500,000,
right.
2 million? Like, again, we have no clue because they aren't. We do know
The
that Satya Nadella. We know that Satya Nadella had his bonus tied to Game Pass growth, and then changed that because Game Pass wasn't growing. So, I mean, like, we can look at it and go, but and the other thing is people that like just go, well, they're more about these other things. It's like, okay. But Stadia failed because people aren't going to pay $70 to $100 to stream a game. They're not, right? Stadia, PlayStation Now, OnLive, Gaikai, whatever you want to call it. These different things. Nobody's really using these en masse. Like, Microsoft has had this ability to stream games to this shit for years and years, and people don't really take advantage of it. And the ones that do are either own a console and a PC already and just do it as like a bonus thing. People aren't really buying into it.
A lot of people use it. I got to disagree with some of that stuff. I hear you on some points, but people do use it on GeForce Now too. If you have Game Pass,
yeah, they have 20 million users total though. That's
well,
not.
Well, you guys,
I disagree with the point that Game Pass is not a good service. It is a good service. It is making them money, but in order for it to be more sustainable, they gotta put their games everywhere else because on Xbox, the gamers aren't buying games now because of Game Pass.
But let me ask you
this. That was Phil Spencer.
No, but then let me ask you guys this: what type of legs does Game Pass on console even have? If the console is per what you're saying, that going the way of the dodo, and all of the people who are going to be on Game Pass, they have
it's
to.
Like I
said, they have to do next generation. It has to be a good selling console, or it's done. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
So
can I ask? I want to ask one question, right?
Well, one question.
If
Game Pass dies too,
if they're selling less console this generation, people have less faith in Xbox console and the company this generation. How can they have a restart next generation? And all of a sudden, everybody's going to have faith. Once people move, you know as well as I know. Once people move to their, whether they move to PC or with the PlayStation or Nintendo or whatever, they're done. They're not gonna. They don't care.
That's not true. People move to the 360 and then they move back to PlayStation. So I don't want to say that's the case. They're just gonna have.
You're telling me that more powerful hardware is going to convince people to come.
I'm telling you what they're doing. It's not just about powerful hardware. They're also going to integrate Steam into
Let me ask you a question.
Most people that care about Steam have a PC.
Listen,
if you're a console gamer, you don't have Steam, so it's irrelevant to you.
This is all I'm going to say.
No PC gamer will buy a console.
Listen, all I'm going to say is that they have one last shot. And that's going to be the next generation. We already have confirmation that they're going ahead with the next generation. Now, if they're able to sell that next generation to gamers, we're going to have to wait and see. I agree with all of your points that things don't lead that way. But if they have this huge vision and they can deliver on it, then they have a chance.
They don't have a huge vision.
Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you
whether or not you think that or not, though, Jay, that it's going to happen. They're going to make a next generation.
What is your definition? No,
They
but what
are.
is your definition of winning? Like, okay, you say they sell. What does that mean? Does that mean they have to sell more than PlayStation, or do they have to sell? Because they're not sell. They don't have the titles in their repertoire right now on exclusive lock to PlayStation.
They have
the PlayStation even next gen. You know,
they don't have to outsell the PlayStation. They have to do better than this generation. Not getting sold out 4-1 in some regions, 3-1 in other regions. It has to be. It's like very close across the board.
They're packing it in other regions, though. They're not even
Yeah,
trying.
yeah, they're closing.
Right.
They're closing.
But what is it?
Closed
What is
down
it still
in
through
like
now?
Africa and
Can we go
East.
back? Can we go back for a second? Let me go back for a second here, real quick, guys. There was something that was going on between D and Jay. D, I have to intervene here. You made some great points, but where you kind of fell short. We said this on the show back in 2019. Phil then said it when he went on that XCast show, okay? You said, I'm not going to hear what you're saying, Jay, because the 360 folks went back to PlayStation. That was when consoles had a stopgap. When we got to the PS4, Xbox One generation, that is when digital games legitimately boomed on console. And Phil even said it was the worst generation to lose. And they didn't just lose, they lost badly. Okay, now you're doubling down, D. This generation, you've got those same people coming over, and now because of the advertisements that they've been saying with the business podcast, it's even worse. Now more Xbox guys are coming to PlayStation. So when you say that they're going to have another console, whether it's new technology they're bringing over, they are already they're kind of in quicksand here, D. That's the only thing I was going to say.
Yeah, but if they can, I'm just looking at it as a business, right? I try not to get like emotionally invested because of PlayStation, Xbox.
No,
I always look at the tech and the business. And when I look at the business, if they can do a little bit better than what they did this generation, next generation, they can maintain that, and at the same time have their games on different platforms, they're going to be fine.
Okay,
if they do worse, they're not going to be fine. And we're going to have to wait to find out. We can scream all we want. A next generation console is coming from Xbox.
But you're not quantifying it. Right now, I'll give you that they've had a 50 million console sell through. I don't know if that's the case, but let's just say assume it is.
Very close.
Huh?
No, they're in the 20s.
Xbox is about 32.
Okay, I'll give you 8 more on top of that. I'll give you 40 million. Let's play devil's advocate here. Let's give you 40 million consoles. Okay, you've got to sell through 40 million consoles, and according to your seniors up, this is not good enough. How much is good enough for you to say, okay, we had a successful generation?
Well, I think to Microsoft, anything less than their competitors is not good enough. Sony has 65 million.
So they're never going to get to the competitor.
I'm not going to give them the 40 million because they don't have that. So I'm going to give them like 32 million. That is like more than double than what you sold. That is not a good metrics when you're trying to compete and you're trying to be a juggernaut in that field. Now, overall, 32 million sold is fantastic. It's a lot of money they're making. They're making a lot of money off of Game Pass and offer their software. But in comparison to Sony, it's not good. But 32 million, like, come on, that's
but D, it's losing to the Xbox One, which is their worst generation ever. They said it. They said it.
Again, you're comparing it to PlayStation. Again, it's going to be the same thing next generation. It's not going to compare to
what you're failing to realize is at that point, I said, if they can maintain what they have now with the Game Pass, grow it on PC, grow it on console a little bit more, and have their games on Nintendo and have their games on PlayStation, and they're getting that revenue overall, they're going to be fine.
Yeah, let me just make a point here. Jay, let me interrupt. The Death Singer, I would like him to talk too because
yes, I'd like to hear
listen, I just want to make this point. Listen, they're in dire straits on the console. They lost Europe. It's 9-1 all over the place. They stopped the marketing in 2017. They're looking to pull out of regions. They're not even supporting languages. Or have
pull out game.
They are really in dire straits. I don't think that you're ever going to see what they ever had before. Like, you might have a United States release and a UK release, but I don't think that they'll go global, and I don't think that they're going to have a traditional console where they're looking to sell 100 million. Those days are over. So yes, they can be successful being third party and having like a semi-console thing, but for what we would want, I would think you would want them to be more competitive and to go up against Sony, but they're not going to do that. They're in like still wait and see mode. They're still waiting to see if Game Pass can do it what it should do, which it's not going to do. So you're going to have that. So they're going to have more restructures, and I just think that at this point, really, Xbox is in a really bad spot, and I don't think that they have what it takes. Just today, just their marketing is so lost. They don't get it. They everything that they do is ridiculed, and it's mostly because of them. Yeah. So now they have a huge problem. So I just for me, I think Xbox will be around, but it's just going to be like EA. It's just going to be something that we don't internalize or we don't say we're a part of.
You know, the funny thing is, we sit here and debate about this. I got a kid right across the hallway in a room playing a video game. He doesn't give a flying fuck who Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo is. He just wants his game. So, we sit here and argue about Xbox this, PlayStation that. I got the generation after us, the one that I'm racing right now. He doesn't care too.
But Wise, to be fair, the person across the room is you, and you're the one buying it, and you're the one having this discussion. So my point is it does matter.
I did the same thing, right? My kids play Xbox Series S's right now, but I could just as easily, when next generation rolls around, if all the Xbox games are going to PlayStation, why the fuck would I bother buying multiple consoles again?
Right, well,
it really wouldn't make sense.
Yeah, but they don't even have an Xbox. They just got a PC. They got a PC. Everything they want to play from Xbox or PlayStation, they can get on a PC, and they don't care either way. They're like, okay, whatever.
Some stuff. Not necessarily. We don't know. What's going to happen.
Well, what that little snot-nosed MF wants anyways. He wants his $490 Valorant. It's all that other crap. He doesn't want the stuff that I tend to play. So, there you go.
I think.
There's a couple things that I wanted to kind of talk about, and maybe it's just splitting hairs. So last July in 2023, Microsoft was down in Brazil doing a trade show or whatever. They flashed a thing that said there was 21 million Xbox Series X and S's combined sold in July. That was 16 months ago. Okay, we know that during a quarter, they sold only 800,000 worldwide Series X and S's. And we know that last quarter, they only did 1.1 million. So even if you say, okay, 2 million, add 2 million to the 21, and let's go ahead and add another 3 million. I don't think they did that well, but let's give them, I think they're only at 25 million sold, right? I don't think they're at 30 million. I think they're well below that. And I also think the reason why Microsoft doesn't care, and I've seen this quite often when they talk about it, like Phil go, we have the most players ever on console right now. And he's right. And the reason why he's right is because the Xbox One managed to push 58 million units, and there's still a good contingent. There's more people on an Xbox One right now than a Series X and S. And the reason why that's the case is because a lot of players are playing like the Fortnites and the Apex Legends and the Minecrafts and the Roblox. And you don't need to upgrade to play those games. But you can't live off the Xbox One forever, or you know what I mean? And it's sad to think, but they're going to have to live off what the Xbox Series X and S sells at a point. And that's going to be a really bad point if, things keep going the way that they're going, because they're not going to have that, big group of people. Like there's people even on an Xbox One that still have Game Pass, right? It's like at some point you're going to need to incentivize people to move up, and they haven't given anybody a reason to upgrade to a Series X and S yet, as far as I can tell. And outside of that, it's like I wanted to touch base on a little something because D, you mentioned something about Steam, but you mentioned something about Steam on an Xbox. I've always said that made no sense to put a Steam store on Xbox because for multiple reasons. Microsoft makes 30% on third-party sales, 30% of all microtransactions, and they charge people to play online on Xbox. If you have a Steam store and you're buying Steam games, you don't have to pay to play online for Steam games. Microsoft wouldn't receive anything for a game sold on a Steam store, and Microsoft wouldn't receive anything for a microtransaction on a Steam store. So how do they make money in that proposition? It doesn't make sense. Because they sell consoles at a loss to people, so that they can make the money back on microtransactions and selling software and services. But if people are not having to do that, then where are they gonna make the money up? That would be my question. I've mentioned this multiple times, and nobody has really had a good answer.
I have no idea how they're gonna do that. If I'm just assuming, I would assume that Steam would obviously have some type of financial activity in it or commitment to. something. I don't know. Because
I mean, if you bought a game on Steam and it's multiplayer and you're playing it through Steam, you're not having to pay Microsoft to play online. I mean, Microsoft is losing out on, quite a bit.
I don't,
in my opinion.
I don't know. Honestly, that's a good question. I don't know how they're going to structure it. That's just like we heard that was proposed.
I heard that was a rumor. Like Phil was kind of hinting at that. Maybe he was just talking out loud. But I would be shocked if having the Xbox store, they make over $1 billion a year on Fortnite microtransactions, right? Because they get a big percentage of that. Like, why would you give up microtransactions and third-party sales where you get all this money and then get nothing by having a store that you make $0 from? It's like I don't get it.
I don't know because
I don't see how that would do anything. I don't. That's why,
like the Xbox is going to get like licensed out. It's going to be like a third-party machine kind of.
Yeah, I mean, I saw that too. Like kind of like Steam machines,
like Dell or like Asus can build it.
Well, let me.
The other thing I just wanted to mention is like people don't realize that it's a trickle down effect too. Like if Xbox is selling so poorly, you're going to get less support from third-party developers where they might not even bother to make the game. Also, you're going to see a situation where those that do, Xbox is going to get the worst ports. Like so far, I mean, Xbox was more powerful than the regular PS5, but the PS5 matched it or beat it in most of the face-offs so far.
Ridiculous.
Do you think
Black Ops 6 performing better on a regular PlayStation 5?
Let me ask you this: if Xbox is going down this track, do you think this is going to better give PlayStation a better confidence to release a PS6 at the same price as the PS5 Pro? Do you think it's coming out at $700?
No, it's not coming out at $700.
Not if Microsoft releases a cheaper one too.
It's not even that. It's just if you want it to be a substantial increase in hardware, the price is going to go up. Everyone complaining about the CPU in the PlayStation 5 Pro. Well, if they went with a better CPU, that shit would be like $1,000. So I think the best that we can hope for in 2026, 2027 when these come out is like a $800 price point. But,
that's D. I'm glad you brought that up with price point because that was one of the things. And first of all, Japan was one of the countries that literally wasn't buying the PS5 at rapid amounts, right at all. And when you look at what's going on in just the first week of the PS5 Pro, right? You have the PS5 Pro. Okay, I'm looking at some of the numbers here. PS4, just guys. PS4 Pro, which was at the time a $400 machine in the United States. Okay, and I have another chart here. I'll look at the PS5 Pro sold 65,194 units. The PS5 Pro at 78,000. And guys, correct me if I'm wrong. Please, I have no problem with being wrong on that. These are the numbers I have in front of me here, coming off of I believe it was here's Genkai. He says PS4 Pro 65,194. Yep, PS5 Pro 78,000. And just that is a big. That's a big deal when you're talking about such a price increase. So when D says that the PS6 is going to go up in price, I can already hear people making videos being like, "Oh my God, it's going to go up again." Guys, you people keep saying console can't keep up with PC. And that may be the case, right? When the 59 Death Singers can't wait to start talking about the 5090, right? But if we want to have consoles try to keep up at all, you have to, it's going to cost money. Right? You can't keep saying, well, this 4090 does this. The 5090 is going to like run circles around console, which it will. It will. But if you want to keep up with the Joneses, you have to put the money up. Like that's just the way it's going to work going forward.
It's not the money. It's also the curse for releasing a console that price. Like for example, I think it came out on record that when the PS5 Pro's price was announced at $700, somebody in Sony said that we were sort of we were okay with the fact of it coming out at $700 because of how poorly Xbox is performing. So if Xbox keeps going down in popularity, then wouldn't that incentivize Sony to say, okay, well, screw this? Whatever.
Honestly, looking at the PlayStation 5 Pro, I'm just going to be honest with you guys on the side. I don't think they looked at, let's price it as much as we can. I think they tried to price it.
I'm not saying they priced it but they knew they could get away with this.
No, it's not about that. It's not. See, that's misinformation. It's not about that. To be honest with you, the fabrication of these things is expensive. It's not. You would think over time that it would go down because it used to in the past when they go on smaller nodes. It's not gone down. It's gone up. So it's these parts cost more. And the PlayStation 5 Pro, from what I've seen and what other people are saying and other people tearing it down, it looks like it's on 4 nanometer. And it's really funny because Digital Foundry mentioned this, some other people that tore it down mentioned this, and then all of a sudden they got really quiet on it and they didn't talk about it anymore. And I think that's because it's probably full RDNA 4 because RDNA 4 is 4 nanometer. So I'm thinking that it is full RDNA 4, and they're gonna have to wait till AMD announces it at CES to really go into the details. Yeah. And just the fabrication on 4 nanometer, it costs more money. So I'm being honest. Sure, the PlayStation 5 Pro is more expensive than the regular PlayStation 5, but you're getting a lot more performance, and I think it's a good price for what you're getting.
I agree with what you're saying, but what I'm saying is they had a BOM before they even announced the PS5 Pro, whenever it was in the planning stages. And when they got the BOM, they knew how much this thing is going to be priced, or how much this thing would have to cost in order for it to be profitable.
Well, let's just say
they're not making a lot of money.
Let's just say if Xbox had a mid-gen refresh and we're selling it for $599, there's no way Sony could have came out for $700.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
They would have had to match the price.
Exactly,
so,
but it wouldn't be the same. What I'm trying to say is that it wouldn't be the same performance. Wouldn't be the same. It wouldn't be the same parts. Like, I'm just being honest, guys. Like, this nothing to do with console war stuff. It's just the parts.
Yes.
I don't think they're making. They're not losing money on the PlayStation 5 Pro, but they're
this
not
wasn't
making a lot of money.
This PS5 Pro is a unsubsidized cost. So what you get is what you get. The PS5, when it came out, right, is a subsidized cost because they want massive market. They want a lot of people to get it. They knew this product wouldn't sell any more than 15 to 20% based on the previous generation. The fact that this console is $700 and it's selling the way it's selling tells you people are interested in it. It's doing better than the previous mid-gen refresh.
Yep.
That's all I would say. I don't think that this is a baseline for what the next is. No, this is a mid-gen refresh, right? No, the first console is always a mass market, right? That's that $500 threshold. Now, here's the thing: we spend $500 on these consoles, and then about 6 months later, we cry about performance. Oh, we want this, we want that. But guess what? When you want that stuff, it costs.
Yeah.
Are you willing, right? Like D said, if you wanted a better CPU, if you wanted a better GPU, they could do whatever they want. They could throw all the tech in there. They could throw a 4090 in there. But are you willing to pay for it? And the thing is you're not. You're comfortable with the $400 to $500 console, and that's just what it is. That's the mass market. And most people don't buy next generation consoles or current gen consoles until that price gets around $400 to $300 on a large scale. That's just what it is.
But no,
those days of having like the PS2 era when the console got down to like $159 and $199, those days are over. Okay, the PS4, even to this day, is still $299. Was still a launch price. Like the price didn't go down to $299 or I mean $250 or $199. It just didn't. They just stopped producing it because that was the cheapest that they could actually produce it. And right now, if they could produce these consoles cheaper than what they're doing it, they would have been done it. They would have been slashed prices to get people in there. The more people buy your consoles, the more people buy your games, the more people buy your services. This is how it's been since the beginning of time.
But my question is to you, Jay, is this: did the fact that Xbox is not doing as well also factor in? Because whenever they looked at when the PS5 Pro was in its prototyping phase, they probably got a BOM from this structure that they wanted. They wanted these things, these bells and whistles, and they say, okay, if we get all these bells and whistles, this is how much this console is going to cost. Well,
they started designing this console. They said themselves they started designing the PS5 Pro 5 years ago. That was before this generation came, right? But
they probably had a couple of prototypes there that said, okay, if you get all these features, this is how much that console is going to cost. If you get these lesser, we
had COVID. Right, so I mean that plays a factor. All of these things play a factor. We just
had a factor in them saying, okay, yeah, let's go ahead and push the $700.
No. I'm gonna tell you. Listen, and I'm gonna say no, and I'm gonna tell you why. People keep acting like, I mean, if you really think about it, Xbox hasn't been competition for PlayStation since the Xbox 360. Why are we acting like, oh, because the Sony needs competition? Xbox has not been competition at all for PlayStation since the 360 era, right? It just hasn't. And it's never going to be competition. Phil went out and said that he can't compete with Nintendo and PlayStation. They just can't. So they're not pushing the needle at all. It's just not. I don't think they even wake up in the morning and think about Xbox and how they in their product. Their goal is to get a lot of people to buy their consoles, to buy their services, and to buy their games. And the rest of that doesn't matter. And if you think I'm lying, look at the PSVR 2, look at the PlayStation Portal, look at the DualSense Edge controller. All of those is expensive items that Microsoft didn't produce, but PlayStation decided to produce. And guess what? They weren't going to sell like 1-to-1 ratio. They know that these are niche items. They know, but guess what? This is an additive. This is just them giving back to their fan base, saying, hey, we offer all of these products. Even if 5% of you guys buy this, at least we're the only platform where we're offering you all this fucking different variety of hardware.
And Jay, you guys went through a great back and forth there, but the only thing I'll add to it, because I think Wise, maybe this will answer, and this is a very simplistic answer, but tell me if it answers it. You're saying without that existence of Microsoft, in the presence that they used to have, Sony can offer, or they can charge what they want. Hear me out for a second. Not only does it come down to what everybody was saying a second ago with the actual parts, like D was saying as well, but like, let's just say Milky Way candy bar and the Three Musketeers, right? Because I'm getting hungry and I need dinner yet. Wise, okay. If all of a sudden Three Musketeers goes out of business, okay, and I don't even know who they both might be made by the actual same manufacturer, but you know what I'm saying?
Everybody's getting Twix.
Everybody,
it's like
no, but my point is, if they were both $1 a piece, okay, now that the main competitor for Milky Way is gone, okay, and they decide to go to $4 a bar. The market dictates. Okay, that's the one thing that we are ignoring here. You do have to understand that the fact that we saw that spike. Now, I don't know, and I am very intrigued. I am very intrigued what we're going to see with European and North American sales of the PS5 Pro probably in the next week or two. But I am very, very intrigued at how Japan purchased this device over the original PS5. They were saying, and listen, this is the other thing. You guys used to hear me say it all the time, with the media, the gaming media. You had IGN out there and everybody else saying, they made a game like Concord that nobody wanted, and now they're making a console that nobody wanted. Listen, I understand that we're in a small, echo chamber on Twitter and the gaming community, but my God, the timeline was absolutely littered with PS5 Pros, and still with back-to-back like gaming pictures and takes. Digital Foundry's having a field day. If this thing was DOA or wasn't doing well, you wouldn't see this type of chatter going on and on and on about it. So I think this thing's going to do better than we think. And again, Wise, you know what I'm saying? Not even giving credit to anybody or what they're selling or what they're doing on their channels or how they're... The market will decide, Wise. That has always been the case. It's the same thing no matter how you look at it.
Want.
Right.
It's like, geez, everybody's like trying to pocket watch or whatever. Like, it's so funny though, because like I said, like I love Xbox, right? Hate the fucking company behind it, but love the actual Xbox, right? There's some cool stuff going on there. But when it comes to like the PlayStation stuff, a lot of the people that are upset are the Xbox guys, and they're upset because they didn't get a mid-gen refresh as well. And it's more than obvious, right? Like I would have loved to fucking get an Xbox refresh too, right? Why the fuck not?
Why not?
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like shit, I would have loved to gotten that. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people ask me, well, crap, if you were, and I always give an answer when people go, oh, you think you're better than Phil Spencer? What would you do? And I'll tell you exactly what the fuck I'd do, and I'd make Xbox great again. First thing I would do is I would pull off Gears, Halo, Forza, all those types of games off PC. only make them Xbox exclusive, just like back in the day. I would keep some games, like if it's Bethesda made, a Doom or a Fallout or something, I'd keep that shit on PC. But all the really special console stuff, that would stay console exclusive, and I would make it known that shit's not going anywhere. I would cut crossplay with PC completely because fuck playing with cheaters, right? Like I'm over it. The other thing that I would do is I would take day one games off of Game Pass, re-incentivize people to actually buy games, right? Because that's important. Like Game Pass will still be a thing, but it could be a little bit more like, how PlayStation Plus tiers work or whatever. You know what I mean? The other thing is I'd be advertise Xbox as it being important. Like that's the thing that you have to do. You have to have, a console that people like. Sony does all the same stuff that Microsoft does, but they don't make their platform look fucking pointless like Microsoft does, right? Like Sony, you can fucking stream games there. They're putting stuff on PC. They're doing this. They're talking about other platforms. But guess what? They're not shoving that down your face going, making you feel... Yeah, it's not like...
No. It's the little things, right? Like, for example, remember when the PS5 and the Xbox Series X both launched? Everyone made a big hoopla about how the Xbox OS was the same as the Xbox One's OS, and the PlayStation OS was a little bit different. I like that a little bit different.
I like
getting something new.
Of course you do.
I want the
They used the same controller too, but it felt cheaper and clicked.
It did.
And smelled like cheap plastic.
So you went out and spent $500 on whatever that was, November 20th or 22nd, ready 2020. You got the same UI, the same controller. It did feel cheaper. Okay, no new games at all. Nothing new to play at all on it because Halo didn't launch for a year after that. Right? 2022 was dry. They bumped Starfield a year. Like, that's been this generation. And the thing, again, that no one really wants to talk about, again, I don't know how no one... I understand that maybe next year, like, I'm looking forward to a couple of games that are coming out on Xbox next year, but realistically, their quality has dropped. Like, I don't care about the Metascore for this, but Halo Infinite, not as great as other Halos. Sorry. It's not. Right? I mean, Starfield did okay, did not do nearly the expectations they were hoping for.
It's not even other
Redfall. Let's not even talk about it. You know, Hellblade was, like they say, like a fart in the wind. That was gone, like literally copy paste. You know,
but what this reminds me of as a teacher, it's like, you know, when I have a parent-teacher conference and the parent comes in here and complains and says, "Why is my kid failing?" And I'm like, "Well, your kid probably ain't studying." And they're like, "No, they have too many extracurriculars. He has a headache the other night. His science homework was way too much." They make every fucking excuse except for the one fucking excuse that was actually the real reason, which is they didn't study. You know,
they didn't study.
So the same thing with Xbox.
And listen,
well, at the end of the day, what are we? We are gamers. The first 4 letters of gamer is game.
That's right.
Well, if you don't have a compelling game, what the fuck am I going to do on your service? I don't give a damn what type of service it is.
And Wise, again, I'll bring that back to Game Pass. Game Pass has to be consistently putting out games. In order to do that, you can only delay so much. Eventually, you have to say, ship it. Okay? Because I got people waiting. People go, well, I'm okay with the third party and the indie games that pop in there occasionally that I like. But the sales pitch for it was AAA Xbox first party. And here we are again. I understand Indiana Jones is coming out soon. I got it. And they have a 3-month exclusive deal with Stalker 2. But it's been a very long time. It's been since Hellblade 2, which, again, wasn't really for everybody. So a lot of people are like, well, I have Game Pass, but I didn't really play Hellblade 2. A lot of people didn't play Hellblade 2. They're still popping rare achievements. You know, the great D-Backs. Listen, we got a super chat here from Blessed Red. And listen, I don't want to say, I think Blessed he's more of an Xbox fan. He says, Digital finally released the PS5 Pro Alan Wake 2 video for Patreon members. He said 4070 was performing 40. I saw these pictures on Twitter too. So 4070 was performing 40% faster than the Pro and PSSR, trading blows with FSR2. Thoughts? Now, I mean, that's a very demanding game. PSSR is in its infancy. A lot of people like to go PSSR versus DLSS. Yeah. DLSS is 3.0, but go ahead, D.
Listen, yeah. So to address this, first of all, nobody was ever saying that the PlayStation 5 Pro, when you're comparing it to the 4070, was with ray tracing, first of all. So, like, nobody was saying that. It was in raster performance. Number 2, that game is heavily optimized for NVIDIA. So it's going to run better on NVIDIA hardware. Now, I have to see the video for myself to see what modes that they're testing. But this is one game. You know, you can't judge it on one game. It's funny how people like to cherry pick because they don't want to mention Dragon's Dogma.
Right.
Dragon's Dogma. We have
70, 80 frames.
You have big guys. Forget about me testing it. You have guys out there that's all they do is test games. Okay. And they are saying that they put a 6800 paired with I think it was a 5600X CPU, which is a much better CPU than the one that's in the Xbox console. And the PlayStation console. They couldn't get the same performance that the PlayStation 5 Pro was getting. They were getting less frames.
Yep.
So it was performing in that game. It was performing better than a 6800. Now, if you look on the GPU hierarchy chart, you'll see that a 6800 is about 10% behind a 4070 in raster performance. Mm-hmm. This game was blowing that away. So it was performing like a 4070 in that game. They don't want to bring up that game. They don't want to bring up Stellar Blade. They don't want to bring up God of War getting like 100 in FPS. So these guys, they just cherry pick their game. So that is one instance of the game not performing like a 4070. But once again, I got to see if it's with ray tracing. If it's with ray tracing, nobody expected it to perform.
It'll evolve. Secondly, basically, that's all you got to say.
$699 for $699. How much did that PC cost?
But isn't Alan Wake 2 more CPU bound anyway? So anything that's more CPU bound is going to struggle. Because you
Right.
Yeah, it is. It
That's
is,
right.
and it relies. I don't like I said. I have to watch it. I'm a member, so I'll watch it afterwards. I have to see if it was with ray tracing. If it's with ray tracing, it's gonna be heavier on AMD than it is on Nvidia. And like I said, that game was like it was optimized for Nvidia hardware. So that game it's gonna run better. And like I said, it's one example. They want to ignore Ratchet and Clank. They want to ignore God of War. They want to ignore Dragon's Dogma. They want to ignore Dragon's Age. All these other games that are performing better on the PlayStation 5 Pro, and then they just bring up one game. And you know what? I can't answer these people anymore, to be honest with you, because they're gonna believe what they want to believe, and this is the fact. It is a much more capable system than anything that is out there now. And if it's performing like that, and you're saying that's bad on the PlayStation 5 Pro, what's it performing like on the PlayStation 5 or the Xbox Series X? And furthermore, there's the ray tracing mode that is on Alan Wake 2. It's not even capable on the current gen console. So it's really an argument about nothing. It's a better system, and I think the $700 price point is good. When you look at it, it's really $200, $250 more than the regular PlayStation 5. It's $100 more than the 2 terabyte Xbox Series X that I see some gamers rejoicing about. So, like, what are we doing here? Like, come on.
D, it's even cheaper than that because you can do the trade-ins back before the console came out. You were getting anywhere from $350 to $400, and now you can get. We had the great Gaming Forte on last week, and Forte said that it was still a 300 or a little over 300. Go ahead, Wise, and then Blessed Red came back with another super chat I want to ask. Go ahead, Wise.
Well, also, I think Cyberpunk also showed modest gains compared to other games as well, because Cyberpunk was also CPU bound. So, I mean, that's the same story as well. So,
I think you guys might also see better stuff for the new games that come out that are getting worked on right now, as opposed to, a lot of these developers have moved on to other stuff. And so, they might have tweaked some things, but I think like the new games that come out are going to be the ones that take like better advantage of it because they're new and they were working on it at that time and they have more horsepower to work with it at that time. Whereas, a couple people might be working on it. That was what happened with like the Xbox One X and the PS4 Pro was like the games that were already out, they'd have a couple people working on it or whatever. And so it wasn't like fully optimized as well as the new games that would come out. So, I mean, people really have to, like, a damn thing just came out, let it, if we waited years for tools to come in for the Series X, let's give PS5 Pro a little bit. Let's let the developers cook a little bit, right? Like, I mean, to me, that just makes a lot of sense to it. And trust me, I'm the type of guy, like, I'm not real big into, I don't want to, like, there's not much for me to play on it. I got it anyway. But it's like, I'm kind of disappointed Astrobot wasn't up. There's some things in there that are kind of a head scratching. Like, I don't care about Spider-Man 2 or going back and playing God of War again. But I am looking forward to like playing some of the stuff that's going to come out next year. Obviously,
I'm glad you brought that up, Crap, because that's that's one of the things.
6 is going to be fucking phenomenal.
That's one example, but I mean, a lot of these third-party games are going to like. Dee's been saying this in all of his videos. He's been saying it for weeks, if not months. That you're going to see this thing kind of grow as the next 4 years go on. That's why you just said a moment ago, Crap, that you would have no problem if Xbox had one because you wouldn't have minded spending that money.
I love that.
Right. So D, I'll come back with you here. Blessed Red says a 7800 XT is 11% faster than the 4070 in raster and AW2. The game isn't super NVIDIA favored without RT, which the test was based on performance mode L. Again, I think you're cherry picking one game, Blessed Red. You're not looking at the other games. I believe Digital Foundry has hours and hours of games that they said look absolutely amazing on the PS5 Pro. So, I mean, if you found one, congrats. But I'll be honest with you, it still plays better. Here's what I want to know. This is what I don't understand. I said it when the show started. How did this happen? How did we go from PlayStation versus Xbox to PlayStation versus Nvidia? I don't know where that happened somewhere along the line. But the thing about it is that 4070, I just saw you can get it as cheap. I saw it as cheap on sale right now for $499, and I saw it for $599. So somewhere in there, you have a $500 to $600 card.
I'll dumb it down because I know nothing about PCs. Get new PS5 Pro, plug it in, games look better.
Right. Fuck. How does what I want to know, which I didn't see on that video? I didn't see the picture of it. This is for Blessed Red too. I didn't see the Xbox Series X versus the PS5 Pro on Alan Wake 2.
Yep.
I would be
Well, don't
interested
ask-
to see that.
Don't ask how many controllers I went through
They're-
playing
yeah,
Horizon
they're not-
Zero Dawn. So
they're not gonna do that. Overall, I think it's really early. The system's been out like not even a week yet. Like, come
Right.
on, what are we doing here?
That's it. You know, I appreciate the super chat. So shout out to the great Danelle Brown. He says, I'm waiting for the update for my Xbox to run like the PlayStation 5 Pro. Danelle, always being a funny guy right there. So let me go to Death Singer here. Death Singer, let me ask you a question because I know this was very console heavy discussion today, Death Singer, but the question I'd have for you is the discussion of the handheld. And the reason I go to Death Singer here is I still think one of the best handhelds. I understand Crap made a comment about Switch being the best, and that's fine. I think he can prove that with sales, okay, and exclusives. That's fine. But I think if you look at what Xbox is trying to do in the future, the competitor that I think is doing outstanding right now is the Steam Deck. So when Phil says he's got an Xbox handheld many years away, my question for Singer is do you think, and Singer probably stepped away to order a pizza or make a pizza. There he is. Singer, do you think that a handheld that's going to compete with, at the time when that comes out, we know a Steam Deck 2 is probably coming out, I would say 26 or 27, which sounds exactly like when Phil's talking about 27. I just don't, I don't know. I think I would rather buy a Steam Deck too.
Mooch, can I say something?
Yeah, go ahead. I want to get Singer here. I feel bad. Singer's been
okay, go ahead, Singer.
making pizza dough for us. I appreciate it. Singer. What do you think?
The thing is, it's like getting into it now is probably for the best because the handheld market, like globally, it's growing super fast.
The handheld market,
like
you mean?
they jump in. They're projecting the market will go from 20 billion to nearly 40 billion by 2030. Now, that is a lot of growth, and is mainly growing in Asia. The thing is, there's a lot of market room, because the biggest thing out there is Nintendo. Sure, the Steam Deck's selling really, really well, but it's not doing 10 million. The Steam Deck is nowhere near, right? So, yes, there are great things out there, but also at the same time, the Steam Deck, you can't walk into your local Walmart and buy it. You have to get it off Steam. Now, if they want to get into the handheld, you get into it now because you want a piece of that pie. That extra 10 billion or whatever, you want that.
Yeah, but Singer, he said many years away. That's not now.
Well, it's constantly growing, but that's what it's going to grow at by 2030, right? So you want to get in now whilst the growing's going.
Okay.
Because other people are going to enter the handheld market. It's like Steam realized it. Why would the biggest platform on PC all of a sudden release a handheld? Think about it. Why would Steam go out of their way? But that's the thing. They're like, a handheld now makes sense because when it grows, people are like, well, I want to take my Steam library on the go. The only way to take your Steam library on the go is the Steam Deck. So you're like, okay.
Another thing, it's not subsidized. It's the full price. Whatever that thing is,
exactly.
It's it is, yeah.
That's why it costs so much. But
yeah.
So if Xbox wants to get into it, you want to get into it now whilst the going's good. Because if you leave it too long, it's already going to be super saturated. Plus, they can also, as bad as a brand Xbox is, your typical gamer will know what an Xbox is. But if you ask them what an Asus is, they're probably going to look at you like, what?
Right.
So
that's right.
Xbox is a brand that people understand exists. Like, they're like gaming, you're like, oh, there's PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo. You don't see people go, there's PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo, and Asus. Like, no one does that.
Right.
Yeah,
and ironically enough, I probably would think, and this is just me argumenting here, but I think that form factor, that handheld form factor, if released soon enough, could be the optimal form factor for Game Pass, in my opinion. So,
on the handheld,
that is another good one.
On the handheld, yeah. On the handheld, the handheld variant would be a better delivery mechanism for Game Pass, in my opinion. So,
also, they know consoles aren't selling over there, but handhelds are selling really, really well over there right now. Nintendo's doing the best they've ever done. Like, Nintendo is probably going to pass the PS2, and then they're going to drop the Switch 2, and just be laughing all the way to the bank, right?
The most hilarious thing
Nintendo is also
about this is the people that are going, well, cloud. Like, if cloud was all that in a bag of chips, they wouldn't be making a native handheld. Just saying.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just saying.
but-
I mean, obviously, I mean, people want to, like, here's the thing, right? Like, like
Fire
that thing
sticks.
today. Yep, that whole thing that kind of came out today with this is an Xbox or whatever. I mean, it's such like utter nonsense because, first of all, you know, if people were really jumping to that, we'd all know about it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and their plan to sell games like Stadia Mooch for $70 a piece for cloud streaming only, like that's not gonna go over well, like the way that people think. You know, I think that people are gonna be, you know, that are really jumping on that, going, oh, this is the next big thing. It's like, I heard that over a decade ago, right? I will never ever game that way. I will never ever do it. And the people that are like gaming on tablets and phones for the most part, they're playing the games that are built for tablets and phones, right? Right, those little free, you know, free or dollar games or whatever. Like Gears of War to me isn't a tablet game. It's not a phone game.
No, not
right?
at all. You're playing,
you know what I'm saying? Like
crap,
none of that stuff is
crap. They're playing Monopoly Go on their phone. You know, the
exactly.
thing is, right?
There's not an extra billion gamers just suddenly going to be found.
Yeah.
Like, it's so ridiculous. You know, it's like those ways to play those games. Sony started doing that years ago. They had this thing with the PlayStation TV or some shit. Where you could stream. Like nobody cared.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like people, it's just honest.
Here's the other side of the coin. And D, I go to D here again because D, you did a lot of videos on it. You did tests. You had it. You're showing the device. Crap. I know you're not into this, and this is not a sales pitch for you at all. It's not. But I think you'll at least come around to the point of the cost for the performance. Now, the Portal. Okay. If you have a native device like the one that Xbox is going to make, or if you look at the Steam Deck, or if you look at the Asus ROG Ally, these are anywhere from $350, $400, $500, $600, $700, $900 handheld devices natively playing it. The Portal is $199, and I'm telling you, crap. Do I think, listen, there's people like, shout out to Payo, he's been on the show. He's been like, listen, I'm 2 countries over and I'm playing, and he's showing it on Twitter, right? So he's showing him playing it. He's having no problems.
You only play the game that's in the PlayStation, though?
No. Oh, you mean if it's physical? If it's physical,
you play in your whole library.
You can play your digital library.
You can only play like
and I'll tell you this much.
No. You can play your whole library. It's just like you're in front of your PS5.
Yeah, anything on your digital library. But if it's a physical, you can only play. If it's a physical disc, you can only play the one physical disc that's in there.
Now I'll tell you this much: I have fiber internet here at home.
Right.
Even with fiber internet, I can't play God of War and games of that ilk because I can still see a lag. Okay, it might be a negligible lag, but it annoys the crap out of me.
You need to upgrade your router and stuff. Obviously, you have to have a nice, you know.
Yeah.
Some people just if you're just using the shit that AT&T or T-Mobile or whatever your Comcast or whatever give
provider,
you, that's not even the right place to. That's not even the right thing to have anyway. But get you a nice router and call it a day. It works.
Now, but I will tell you, I am playing Dragon Quest 3 HD 2D came out today, and that the Portal is the best device for that because I'm sitting there watching TV, playing the Dragon Quest 3 game and watching TV at the same time, and it's perfect for that.
What earbuds are you using, Wise? If I may ask, are you using the earbuds? Or are you using the over the head ones that work with?
No, I don't like things sticking in my ear.
Yeah, that's all right. I'm just wondering. Are you using one that uses a 3.5 millimeter jack? I'm just curious.
No, I'm using the Bluetooth.
Okay, you are using the Bluetooth. Yeah. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Well, there's no Bluetooth. It's Link, the Link device.
Yeah, that little Link, that Eclipse thing, the over-the-ear one that they have. Yeah.
Okay. So, no, that's. But crap. My point with that was because I know streaming's not your bag and it never will be. But I think when it comes down to it, that's why Sony did it right. It was a $199 crap. Even if you throw it under the tree for the holiday, right? Yeah, I mean, think about it. No matter what you guys are buying for your family or your kids for gaming, $199. I mean, you throw it under there, it's an accessory. It's an accessory.
It's the number one. It's the number one selling accessory in the world.
Okay, you can say whatever you will, but I'm not giving any of my kids my PlayStation 30th anniversary Portal. I'm sorry, I love them, but I don't like them that much.
No.
Okay.
Listen, Mooch, but I also have hopes that maybe Sony will come out. There's rumors they might have a handheld.
That's what I was going to say to Death Singer. Yes.
Like, listen, like here's the keys to a handheld. It's like look at the Vita. It's a great handheld, but proprietary memory killed it. You know what I mean? like completely destroyed that thing. You had to pay so much money for the memory. It's like what you have to do is just do what the Switch does. Like they do like this memory that's super affordable, right? You can save your games on it and save a lot of games on it. Because think about this, like where they're trying to get all this money for the memory.
Yes.
People are buying hundreds of games for their Switches and shit because the memory is so affordable. You know what I mean? You can get hundreds of gigs for a very cheap amount.
Very cheap.
And even now the Vita memory is expensive. It's like that same shit really kind of hampered. Like when you look at it, I've loved the PlayStation handhelds that they did. The PSP was phenomenal. Like that was a great handheld.
That's
especially like it was so good. And I like the Vita a ton. I still have mine. The problem is just that, like I said, the memory situation on that is just really, really bad.
I wonder if the same.
I'll be back in 5 minutes, Mooch. Sorry.
Okay, dude, no problem. So crap. I'll ask you, but I want to hear the whole panel here. Like, just talking about the Switch 2 for a second. Do you think Switch 2 will run into the same media like hellstorm if Switch 2 comes out and it's just slightly more powerful? Like, and it doesn't like, because now there's rumors that it may be a $400 device. Maybe it'll be a $500 device. And it's not that much more powerful. Is that going to be? I know that they did announce that it's going to be, or at least that we heard, it's going to be backwards compatible. That's a good thing. I mean, everybody buys a lot of Nintendo.
I think they're just going to consider it still a Switch. I think it's just going to be straight up Switch 2 or Switch Pro or something, right? Because what they're going to want to do is, and you can tell they want to do this, they want to get that all-time record for most consoles sold.
Yes.
And they're very close to that, right?
Yes, they are.
And they're going to continue to make, like, if you have 150 million or 160 million install base.
Yeah.
Do you really just want to drop all those? No, I think they're going to make games that work on both.
Yeah.
And, and people, so they're not going to be left behind like they normally do. Like Nintendo is quick to pull the plug on their old shit. Right. Well, I don't think they're going to do that this time. I think it's just going to be like, this is their Pro. You can buy that for better performance on the games, but it's going to play the same stuff. I can almost guarantee that they're still going to make games for it. Because if you look at it, what did they show off? That new, what the hell? Metroid.
Yeah.
They showed, right? And people are like, that's got to be the new Switch, right? Nope. It was that like, listen, they're going to continue to, do games that fucking work on that thing. You don't think Microsoft wants to get Call of Duty on 160 million Switches? Like, I mean, come on, man.
Absolutely.
Like, they're going to keep that thing around. So I personally think the Switch 2 is going to be like $400, but they're not, I heard they're not going to use an OLED. So maybe they'll get it for $350. I don't know. But
it's going to be 400, and the Switch has something that no other platform does. They got divergent population bases. Okay, so let me explain what I'm trying to say. So if you look at the PlayStation, if you look at, and this is my hypothesis here, if you look at Horizon, Spider-Man, God of War, that caters to a certain demographic of people, and that it's the same demographic of people. So the person who buys a Spider-Man 2 is the same person who's generally going to be buying your God of War and your Ghost of Tsushima and all of that. Whereas if you look at Nintendo, they have that with Zelda and Mario, because they feed off of one another, that population base. But then you've got another population base of players who are strictly Pokemon. And that's all they do is Pokemon. And they may not be a Mario Zelda fan. So they're feeding off of that population. Then you've got your Smash Brother community that may not be Pokemon fans or Mario fans. So they're feeding off of that. Then you've got your Mario Kart community, and they are also divergent. Now, are there a mixture of a few people that play all of it? Yes, but you're looking at divergent bases that are all going to be funneled down to this one console that you have to buy it. Do you want to play the next Mario Kart? Well, you got to get the next Switch, because that's what Nintendo is going to do. Do you want the next Super Smash Brothers? You got to get the next Switch. You want the next Mario, 3D Mario? You got to get the next Switch. You want the next Pokemon? You got to get the next Switch. That is what's going to cause the Switch to be the next console.
That fucking Mario Kart sold 65 million units.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
So, also, an advantage Nintendo has is, people keep talking about how much games cost to develop. They're developing games for the Switch.
They don't cost
anything. They don't cost like Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom probably cost half of what God of War.
It was 200 million. That was their most expensive game. 200 million. And it costed them. That was their most expensive game ever made. Yeah.
That's their most expensive game. Now, you compare that to the rest of the AAA industry, that's really, really small compared to what some budgets can get to. So you're like, okay. So if you sell 40 million copies of Animal Crossing probably costs what? 50 million to make or whatever, right? You sell 40 million copies of that at 70 a piece, by the way.
Mhm.
You are making so much money off it, and you wouldn't say these are visually stunning games or anything, but they're developing just specifically for their limited hardware specs. So when the Switch 2 comes out, the same thing will happen again, and they could keep the cost down, but make so much money off the profits because they sell like hotcakes. Like Nintendo games just sell magic numbers, and so it's Nintendo is just in a prime position. They're just ticking along. Like,
and don't forget, you're not going to be getting the Z2 Extreme chip in the Switch 2. You're going to get a weaker chip that because Nintendo profits off of their console.
Yeah.
Yep.
Listen, they make potato hardware that can run their potato games. It is what it is, right? It's not.
But they're making McDonald's French fry money with those potatoes. McDonald's.
No, they don't exactly. They are, but I mean, they're in a whole different market. Let's face it. They're on that the lower end market, which they do well. They thrive in, and that's where that's their lane. But they're not doing what Xbox and PlayStation do, and guys shouldn't even try to. They're different thing. They don't even do 4K.
Well,
they don't do none of that stuff. They don't do HD. They don't do voice or motion cap. They don't do nothing, right? They don't
even do in-game chat. They don't even do in-game.
That's what I'm saying. They don't even have an online. They don't do anything. So let's stop acting like this. Let's like come on.
But for whatever they're doing, you can't argue.
It works for them. It works for them.
Oh, it works.
145 million is very hard to scoff at.
Listen, everybody on this panel would stop fucking gaming if gaming turned out where everybody's just doing what Switch is doing, just the exact same thing, same kind of kitty game. Like, come on, this is like
right.
Like they have that nostalgia too, though, man. Like everybody, again, like I grew up with that stuff. You know what I mean? It's like I don't care that it doesn't the formula doesn't change because it's so good what they do, and it's just like you don't got to worry about a bunch of like Nintendo doesn't care about what like the world thinks.
Crap,
you know
you're
what
not,
I mean?
Crap, you're not wrong.
I kind of like that fuck you mentality.
Yeah,
right? Like I'll never show a Nintendo game on my channel, never, because they probably close. They like whatever. That's what they do.
They won't allow
so it's
it.
Like,
but that's why they've not announced the console yet, because they're not in any rush to announce it, because they know the minute they do, it's going to sell anyway.
Hey, it's still selling better than Xbox. So
yeah.
Also, that comes back to Xbox making a handheld.
Right.
They would actually sell some Xboxes because
I'm going to stop.
They would.
That shit wouldn't sell. Listen, a handful of gamers would buy it because, like us, we would just buy it because we buy fucking everything, right? Just to have it.
Right.
But nobody else wouldn't buy it. It just wouldn't, right? It's just
funny. What's funny?
There's just no market for Xbox.
I was arguing with people about this today. They're like, yeah, it's so great. You can like take your fucking games anywhere when you. And I'm like, this is the same.
Grounded anywhere.
Yeah, this is the same shit that I heard in 2016, and I was like, listen, I'm a grown adult. I have a family. I have a job. When I buy games, I play them on my fucking console on my big ass TV. I have no desire to
Avowed on the toilet. Like,
I have no desire to fucking play on a smart fridge or any of these other places.
Listen.
Crap.
Right?
Like,
look,
crap.
We
said this, Jay. We said this a long time. Why? Just to interrupt real quick. We said this a long time ago, and the main pitch that I had, and I never said you should go buy it. I said if you're in the market for it, when I use the portal, it's typically on a Sunday. I'm watching football and I'm playing a game on the portal, so I'm able to enjoy some sports while I'm playing my games. That's where I like it. But Crap's right. I don't like the days, and you remember, Crap, I tested it out. Jay, we talk about this behind the scenes all the time. Now, if you do it, that's fine. I think if you use it, that's fine. But even when I'm on business travel, Jay, you're on business travel, I don't really get a chance all the time. After we're done with work, everybody goes out, gets a bite to eat, right? You got to get up the next day. Maybe you're presenting, maybe you're not. My point being is, right, at the end of the day, I'm not really taking the portal too much on the road. I love the portal from when my TV's being used for other purposes beyond.
You didn't even take Stadia on the road, Mooch.
I tried it once and then I was like, fuck that.
You talk about your job. I play the portal when my wife was watching soap operas.
There you go. Right. No, Wise, you're right. It's whenever the TV is not being used for the game that you want to play on it. For me, it happens to be I'm my own worst enemy because I'm watching sports. But you're right. When the missus is watching Grey's Anatomy for the 75th time, right? I have the Portal, so it really is great for that. You know, it is what
I'll
it is.
never let you live down that you were a fucking Stadia
Oh,
founder or whatever.
I was a founder. So was J-Dub.
Yeah.
So was J-Dub.
We were ambassadors.
We were ambassadors, yes.
No. He tweeted that stuff, dude. I remember him tweeting it when he became one, too.
Oh,
I'm like,
yeah.
what the fuck is this shit?
Yeah.
And what did I say? Mooch?
We're the founding fathers of. We were the founding fathers of
That's
cloud
right.
gaming.
That's right.
Years.
But you know, it's
I
funny. I will still say this. I literally, and you can ask people that still, Stadia still worked better than any other streaming device at that time. It really
just
did.
worked.
It worked better than Xbox's attempt at it or anyone else's. It really, really worked well for what it was. So, you know, it didn't do well because, let's be honest, crap, you said it first when you were making fun of it earlier tonight. The reason it didn't work was it was like, wait a minute, they opened the store with games that we already owned on Xbox and PlayStation. So you were like, wait, I have to buy this again? That wasn't flying. And that's where it went down. It really, the storefront where you had to go spend $70 again with their storefront, they didn't bring anything new. You knew they weren't going to have first party games rolling out very fast, if ever. So it wasn't going to work. But the actual technology was good.
Technology there.
Hey, Mooch.
I never understood why Microsoft didn't buy that technology.
They should have bought it since they were rolling with it so hard. Yeah, exactly.
Why buy that when you can have beta technology from 2011?
Go ahead, Singer.
Right? I mean,
to counter Jada's point, handhelds probably will sell because games consoles don't really sell in Asia like that anymore, and it's more handheld and PC gaming market, which we already knew, because Nintendo is dominating. Basically, it's like it is what it is at this point. And sure, you get some sales, but if the handheld market in Asia is growing, the biggest markets are what? China, Japan, and then you have, you know, Korea, for example.
And Xbox is not in any of those markets.
Hey, but they're looking for Asian developers now, right?
But here's the thing. They're not in those markets because they don't give a shit about the Xbox console. They're on the handheld kick now. So if you approach them with a handheld, they would be more likely to bite than they would be a console because they told you they don't care about the console.
Wouldn't you need that content that appeals to them?
You do need that. You do need that content. But then it depends. Like
the only
only Japanese developers.
Hi-Fi Rush was their key to the market, and they closed them down.
Hey, I'll say I love Ghostwire Tokyo. I thought that game was awesome. It was unique.
All I know is I'm pretty sure that the handheld will sell more than what the console did over in those markets, right? I'm pretty sure that's a given
over there. So yeah, it could.
So does everyone think we're going to do you think that next generation, whatever that you want to call it, every console player is going to offer two variants, except for Nintendo, a portable variant and a set-top box variant? Do you all think that? Is that what?
Well, whatever the case may be, it has to play the same games. Like you can't do like what Nintendo did in the past with the 3DS and the Switch or the Wii or whatever. You know, it has to play the same games. Like if Microsoft is like, the games that you own, you can fucking download them and play them on this less spec handheld. Like that's cool. You know, Sony, if they do the same thing, like I don't want to play and have to buy separate games for it. You know what I mean? Like I think that could work.
That's not gonna
work. But if they're like,
well,
you have to buy the games for it again or whatever, because I think that wouldn't. We're in the day and age where that wouldn't work. You know, I think if you have, just my opinion though, you know, who knows?
Can I ask you something? Now, here's the thing, right? And I know I may be in the minority on this. I honestly think Microsoft, they're just buying their time. They're just fluffing. Phil does what he normally do. He just fluff things just to see this console generation to the end of this generation. I think that's what it is, right? They always give themselves out. They always come up with a reason, whatever. They wouldn't be out here saying what they're saying and flubbing the way that they're flubbing on purpose.
He just gave an interview. Another one came out, guys, with let's see, with Rolling Stone. Xbox CEO says there will definitely be future consoles.
Yeah, I don't believe that.
I mean, listen, he's got the damage control, the shit that he said earlier. It's like,
exactly. I'll take that with a grain of salt. He hold on. He told us in January, it's just 4 games. 2 months later, he said there's going to be more games, and then this past summer, more games. Now he's saying there's no red line in and everything. You just can't take their word for it, right? You watch their actions, not what they say.
Not only that, but you know what's
that's
interesting about that? You know what kind of annoyed me
Mhm.
about the interview that he gave, I think, with Bloomberg, where they asked what the deal was. They're releasing 4 games only on PC, right? And he was like, "Oh, well, that's an
it's
anomaly."
an anomaly.
Right?
Get the
Yeah, that's
fuck
what he
outta
said. Like that kind of
here.
annoys me as an Xbox owner
Yeah.
because literally they would never release a game on just Xbox consoles that wasn't also on PC. They wouldn't do it. Right,
Yeah.
but they'll do it the other way around. To me, I mean, he's like, "That's an anomaly." I was like, "Get the fuck out of here, Phil." You know
Okay,
what I mean?
can we all agree on one point that somebody needs to buy Phil Spencer a steak dinner because that man looks like he's become a
Somebody said it looked like he was on Ozempic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is he on intermittent
Maybe it's just
fasting
a
or
bad
what?
picture. I don't know. But he's like,
I think it was just I think it was is he really? I didn't think he was that old.
Yeah.
I thought it,
Wait,
I think,
no, upper 50s.
upper 50s, maybe not 60s. But I think literally, I think it was just bad lighting. To be honest with you, I think
dude looked haggard. I'm sorry to say that dude looked haggard.
Hey, it's got to be tough tanking Xbox, right?
I don't think he thought he was going to be. I didn't think he.
I looked at him and I made myself a sandwich. I'm sorry.
He was like, I don't think he.
But crap! Every time he fails something, he gets promoted. So why is he so stressed?
I have no idea. It doesn't make sense to me. I know a lot of what's funny is, right, he gave the interview and he's like, yeah, there's no thou shalt not cross line, blah blah blah, this that. These are all he's like, I'm the one that decided to buy Minecraft. I'm the one that decided to buy Bethesda. I'm the one that decided to buy Activision. Right. So all these stuff are his decisions, but people still believe it's not his decisions to put these games everywhere. Right. It's like they people want, and I don't get that. I don't understand that at all. It's like this guy clearly, like, if you go back and listen, he was always pushing that shit from the very beginning. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he would probably be a good CEO for an EA or some shit. But I think you need somebody with a little bit more idea to make your stuff. Because listen, if they don't want to be in the hardware business, fair enough, then fucking just pull the plug, right? But the stringing the people along and not knowing what's going on,
that's
I
the
think
problem.
that
I'm glad you brought up the Rolling Stone quote, because I have it right here too. I saw it when you were saying, like, that's the thing. It's not just the stringing along. It's the back and forth
in
right?
the matter of 48 hours.
Yeah, it's like, there's no red line here. Games can go anywhere. You clearly seeing that they're going to go in a third party direction. And then the very next moment you turn around, you pick up a different magazine and you're like, we'll definitely do consoles in the future and other devices. So, it's just to be honest with you guys that are listening in the chat and listening later, my whole point here is just me, myself, I'm tired of it. I'm tired. Yeah. You guys can sit there and say, okay, PlayStation has games going to PC in 12 or 24 months. That's fine. It's fine. But there is still an emphasis when you talk about PlayStation and Nintendo on the console. They still put the console first. And that is
feel like shit for buying it.
Yeah,
that's the main thing.
That's the thing, and it's like, I don't know, for some reason this is the stuff that gets me more aggravated than anything else. And Wise, I know that you came on, and I know you really do. You try to do your due diligence to say, hey, listen, let's look at all sides of it. But at the end of the day, you've been following this news for a long time yourself. It's exhausting. Here he is saying, we'll be, first he says we're only going to do 4 games. Then he goes on that one stage and he's like, well, we're open to doing more. Then he comes out and says everything's up for grabs. Anything can go. There's no red line. And then he's like, don't forget though, we really want to have a console. Again, goes right back to the beginning of the show. Who's the new console for? They've lost so many people.
Well, I'll tell you this much. I don't care what he says because none of the games that he's made so far has compelled me that much.
That's the right answer, Wise. That's the right answer. I said, now listen.
Hey, Mooch.
Go ahead.
I don't care where he go because I'm not playing him. It's like, I don't like them in a box. I don't like them with a fox. I don't like them here or there. I don't like them anywhere.
I mean, Mooch, the moment I kind of was like, I shook my head was when, and there's been a lot of moments where I did that, but was when he did the Redfall interview, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, we can't out console these guys. We can't. It's like, why would anybody? He looks like in that picture like a guy that knows that he can't win, right? It's like, who would follow that guy, right?
Yeah.
Like, and I mentioned this before. If you're a sports fan, are you going to hire the coach that you bring in candidates and you're like, so, why should you be our coach? And he's like, well, we certainly can't beat the Eagles, we can't beat the Cowboys, and we're not going to beat the Redskins, but hire me, right?
Yeah.
And then they hire him. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, are you gonna work for that guy, Mooch?
No.
Like, are you gonna
Hey,
believe in that guy? Like, no,
Go.
you're not. It's like it's ridiculous.
You know
It's-
you know what the crazy thing about Phil is that I don't have to worry about none of this stuff. 'Cause I move my ass to a place where I don't have to worry about no
That's
console.
true.
I don't have. I just have to worry about. Give me my games, please. Thank you and goodbye.
Yeah.
And that's the end of my worries.
Death Singer,
So
Death
I
Singer,
don't.
you're right and you're wrong though, Death Singer, because the one thing, the jury's still out, and I know that me and you've had great conversation, and I know you're very excited about Avowed, and I'm not gonna deter you at all from your excitement for that. But the only thing I'm saying is, and I want to talk about Indiana Jones with you guys for a second, okay? Right now, you say it doesn't matter what his decisions. The thing is, though, if you're talking about Xbox Game Studios or Xbox owned IP, you do have to worry. Because right now, they have not shown, and Wise just said it, and Wise defends Xbox as much as he can. Xbox is always fighting him. So, it's like, right? The games have not really delivered this generation. And I mean, that doesn't mean you're in the audience right now. You're like, that's bullshit, Mooch. I love this game. I'm sure you did. And I'm not taking
they're solid games.
But they're not great.
Like, nothing is in their repertoire that's a God of War. I'm
Right.
sorry to say.
Right.
There's nothing there.
There's nothing even like Spider-Man 2. There's nothing in that world at all. I mean, heck, there's nothing even like Returnal. I mean, it doesn't matter where you want to go with this. They just didn't have anything. Where's that experience where you were like, this Xbox game was absolutely blew me away, right? Blew me away. Even people that are playing Starfield, their tweets are even boring. You know, they're like,
I never even bothered with the DLC yet, and I have it. You know what I mean?
Do y'all remember back in the day these games they would announce, like you would read them on like Game Fan back in the day? I'm going back to school, old school then, but you would see this game and you'd follow the whole story of the game from when it was announced to the first screenshots to the collector's edition controllers, and you kept getting hyped and hyped and hyped for these games. Where is that?
I don't know.
I missed that.
Where is it? Exactly. We're
Well,
all
I'll tell you
waiting.
what, Mooch, like the game that I remember last time I beat, like, okay, so I bought an original Xbox. I had been hearing some murmurings about this game called Halo.
Yeah.
Right. And that was like the shit. Okay. And then I bought a 360. I saw Cliffy B playing Gears of War on XPlay. This was before the 360 was even out. And that made up my mind that I had to have a 360.
Yeah.
With the Xbox One, Titanfall looked amazing, and it was worth it. Titanfall 1, fucking amazing multiplayer experience, like one of the best. And just it played so smooth, and I put like hundreds and hundreds of hours in it. I have not seen that game from Microsoft that says, hey, this is why you should buy an Xbox, right? Like, I think Starfield is good, but it's like an 80 rated good. You know what I mean? It's not that Skyrim. People are thinking about it nonstop, and you know what I mean? It's not that type of game. And so unfortunately, like the Forza Motorsport took a downturn, and then you had Redfall, which was, not great.
Not great.
And then when they did have a good game, Hi-Fi Rush, how did they reward them? Well, they fucking closed them down.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
they got rid of it. Yeah.
Go ahead.
They actually did have a good game this year, and I really enjoyed it. And I know not a lot of people are going to care, but everyone discounts this fact, and it's because it's a PC thing. But Age of Mythology retold. Mm-hmm. I mean, people will be like, "Wait, what's that?" And it's like, "Yeah, you won't remember it. It was like 20 years ago, And they brought it back. And it's absolutely fantastic.
Singer, I'm not going to. I'm not going to discount that at all. But you have to understand.
Here's the thing.
Go ahead.
It's PC. It's PC only, right? So it's a PC release, but it's still an Xbox Studios game. So I have to give them it because who are the makers? Xbox Game Studios. So,
yeah. No,
I have to give them credit where it's due.
I'm going to complain about something before I go real quick. Why is Avowed not getting a physical release?
That's a great question. I don't even have first of all, I didn't even see that. Is that something that was recently, or that's just been known?
They announced today.
They
announced it today. There's no physical release. No physical release. They're releasing a steelbook version that comes with a code in it, but there's literally no physical release for this game.
Yeah.
Right.
That's like a coupon in the box.
Yes.
I think that's a sure sign as we go closer into now, because we're past the halfway mark. We're going into talking about the next generation. People get mad at Sony, and that's fine. You can get mad at Sony if you want. I understand. I completely understand as a consumer first. They're charging $79 for the additional disc drive. I think the PS6 will kind of follow suit. I think they'll sell their console as a digital only, and you can add a disc drive. I think Xbox wants out of everything physical, period. I think they want.
Yeah,
out.
I mean, and here's the thing, Mooch. Here's the thing: we're 4 years into the gen, and even if they've sold 25 million Xboxes, half of those are Series X's that have physical drives, and so their 2 games this year aren't going to have a physical version.
Yeah. And you know, it's funny because you said Hi-Fi, or not Hi-Fi Rush. I'm reading another article. You said Avowed, and you know, I kind of want to. You're talking about the physical disc, but you know, yeah. I will say to Singer and crap this to the panel. Like, I'll tell you something. Avowed, I hope it's great. And mainly because I know how excited Death Singer is for it. And I think Death Singer will like it regardless. I really do, because he likes that style of game, so it doesn't really matter.
Perfect size game, they say like 12, 14 hours or whatever. So,
and I just think that it's
gonna be way longer than that. See, because Obsidian is a very old studio. Now, if you remember way back when, if we jump in the way back when machine, you would first bump into Obsidian when you played Knights of the Old Republic 2, right? So they started off with a banger hit, which was a great sequel, even though, you know, some people may say KOTOR 1's better than 2, but it's like you're choosing between OG BioWare and Obsidian, 2 goats, right? So you're like, okay, cool, that's a battle of goats. But then Obsidian has always put out quality games. Now, most of their games, obviously, either done on shoestring budgets, or they have to crowdfund their games. They've always been an independent studio, and they get work where they can. But when they make a game, it's always a quality, good experience, even if it's not graphically intensive. Mm-hmm. Like, you look at the Pillars of Eternity games, 89 meta. Does it look like AAA games? No, it doesn't.
The Avowed gameplay that we saw, though, that Avowed gameplay looked like when you were fighting the enemies, like when he was hitting him with a sword, and it looked like they were like doing that pretend fighting that people do when they dress up as knights, you know, outside of like.
The thing is, it looks like Skyrim gameplay.
That's not a good thing to compare it to 20 years later.
No, it's not. But
this is what I'll say though. I like their Outer Worlds better than Starfield. So
the thing is, Obsidian isn't known for their gameplay. It's their story, their quests and characters, which is more their forte.
Why is it that Xbox studios, they always get put in these, like for example, Bethesda? Oh, they're not known for great graphics. They're known for the blah blah blah. And then this studio here, they're not known for this. Like, I don't understand it. Nintendo and Sony don't get those luxuries to say, oh, they're not known for this. No, make a great graphically looking game with great gameplay and great story and call it a wrap.
Imagine if a PS5 Pro game comes out in the next 2 years, Jay, and the fighting mechanic is atrocious. It looks like it's 15 years old in the mechanics. And then me and you get on a podcast and we're like, but the story and the lore was really
exactly.
Singer, only like really honestly, you get I hear that with Starfield. I hear it with this game. I hear it with all these games. But like, if PlayStation, we had super chats tonight. People have been like, the PS5 Pro's not doing 170 frames, Mooch. And I'm like, I'm sorry. You know, it's like, I get so it's conflicting. By the way, Singer, again, I know you don't care because you like that type of game. But I'm just speaking in generality.
What you have to understand is, though, if you look at Obsidian's catalog, they don't do God of War.
Why
they
can't
never
they?
have, never
Why
will.
Can't they, though?
It's because It's because all their catalog has been independent. They've never been owned. They're not Santa Monica that has the backing of PlayStation. They've had to get by crowdfunding. They've had to ask people off the internet for money to make their game.
They have the world's richest company backing them. Why can't they?
But they choose not to. This is their game, their development, and this is the path they've chosen. And it is very Obsidian.
Can I ask you a question,
They're
though?
sticking to what is Obsidian.
That's fair, and
I can't complain.
I'm not comparing the two apples to apples because they're two different art styles. But Insomniac was their own team and their own thing, and they were independent before they were bought, and they got better. Like, I don't, and they're still doing their own game. They're doing their thing. You know what I mean? They did Ratchet and Clank. They've made their games that they want to make. You know, I don't, they lobbied and put their hand in the air. I want this Spider-Man. I want the opportunity to make that. I don't know. For some reason, I think I hear what you're saying, Detzinger. I really do. But I think, like what Jay's saying, when you've been acquired, and they've been acquired for a while now, what Detzinger, was Obsidian acquired, was it 2019? Am I way off?
2018, I think.
2018. I mean, clearly they could have used at least the technological resources of Microsoft, right?
They could have, but they chose not to because this is the way they make their games, and it works for them. The Obsidian style, it's always been, you go in
I'm
for
curious.
the story. You know the story and everything's going to be great. You know the gameplay ain't going to be best in class. You know the graphics aren't going to be best in class. But Obsidian doesn't do that.
Be that? See,
Because they choose
all of those
to. Obsidian
Microsoft,
chooses
but
not to.
Microsoft has a lot of studios that are pigeonholed like that. You're the world's richest company. You spent $100 billion on all these developers and studios. Don't tell me you can't do X, Y, and Z. No, you can and you will. Here's the money I'm going to pay you. You're going to make a great graphically demanding game with great gameplay and great writing and great story and everything else. People will buy it. People will love it, and I'll give you money for that. That's what I said. Only Microsoft seems to have studios that are like this. Nobody else use that excuse.
Studio how they want to make the game though. They choose Avowed to look like this.
Why are Mario games evolved? Everything evolves. Yeah. It's like you even said this reminds me of the original, you know, what was that Bethesda game you mentioned a moment ago? I apologize. The one with the you said it reminds me.
Rush?
No. When I said it 20 years back, what was the Bethesda game there that
Skyrim,
right? I mean, you even have, so Aaron's back in the chat. Aaron goes, you got Jay, you might have to like take some Advil after this one. Hold on a second.
Aaron.
He says like it was cool that PlayStation added the production value to games for a while, but that stuff gets old after a while. Get back to the gameplay. Aaron, I'm going to agree with you. Fine, let's get back to the gameplay. But what I'm saying, the singer, is what I've seen. Hey guys, that's all we can go by right now. I can't wait to have this discussion again once the game comes out in February, because I'm going to try Avowed. Like, Avowed was a game I was looking forward to, but Avowed's gameplay looked like it took, like, not steps back, but like leaps backwards.
Consider this though. You think of Bethesda, the best Fallout game ever made was made by Obsidian, not Bethesda. Their own IP. Someone else did it better than you because Obsidian go, okay, we're gonna do this, and this, and this is the way they make their games, and they evolve and they make.
What have you done for me lately?
Games.
Yeah, that's
not
the
about
thing.
What you did 20 years
ago.
Yeah,
it's not about what you did, but every game they've made has been a good game.
Well, let me ask you this. Let me switch the subject over real quick.
If a company always makes like good games, would you be a fan of those games? Yes, you would be a fan of that.
Sure.
You would like to see that game evolve and get bigger. Like, I'm just saying, they don't always have to stay small, indie-minded. They can expand and get bigger.
No, but they evolved the game, because you think about like where they come from. They made like a RPG, third person, then they made a strategy game, they've made a shooting game, they've made RPG games, third person, first person, top down. The RPG. Now they've gone back to what they are right now. They're constantly making something different. They're not staying in one lane.
My concern is just I've seen, and this is my opinion, guys. I'm not saying that all you guys feel this way, but I feel like a lot of the games that we've seen so far since teams have been acquired have been downgraded. And that doesn't always mean visually, guys. I'm not talking about visuals, because everyone's going to go, wait a minute, Hellblade 2 looked great. Looked like a tech demo. It did look like a tech demo. But it also ran and caught my attention like a tech demo, right? Like it didn't. So that they kind of downgraded in a different category, not visuals. I'm concerned. Now you have the same thing here with Machine Games. Everyone loves Machine Games. Their games are phenomenal. But now Indiana Jones, they're it seems like they're out of their element. I see a lot of people saying that the game it's not interesting to them the way that they're seeing it. They're saying that the hand-to-hand combat looks sloppy. It doesn't look great. It doesn't look appealing to play this game that way. I'm just asking, is that the same thing though, Singer? What's your case with Indiana Jones? Is that going to be the same thing where we go, well, that's just machine games being machine games? It's not machine games being machine games.
No, the thing is though, when I look at Indiana Jones, I look at it and go, I know Machine Games did this game. Why? Because it gives me the vibes of Wolfenstein 2. Great game. Like Machine Game, the reason it's first person, it's like, why isn't it third? Well, Machine Games loves doing first person games, so it makes sense it'd be first person because that's what they know to do. Will it be a good game? Who knows? I mean, the reviews are like whatever. I'll try it just to see what it's like because Machine Games, Wolfenstein games are really fucking good, regardless of what you think. So I'm like, okay, well, they make some good games, so let's see how Indiana hits. And we'll have to see if they do a good enough job because this isn't their typical game. This is a new genre for them. So, okay, we'll see how it goes. It's always a bit worrying. So I don't know. I can't give them the same because they don't have the same. Like with the Avowed thing, I look at it and I'm like, okay, yeah, this is very Obsidian. I know what I'm getting with this package. It's going to be a great game.
Right.
Whereas, but that's because I have a history. I have a 20-year history with Obsidian. They always do good by me. So after 20 years, I have no reason to doubt you. Machine Games, they've only been around for a while. Sure, they made some great games. But we still have to see.
Yeah.
So
and they're stepping out of their comfort zone too, I think.
They are, yes. Whereas Obsidian is staying in their comfort zone, which is RPGs. Whether it be first person, third person, top down, it's always an RPG. It's what.
Can I ask you something? How many people buy their games? How many people are interested in it?
What, Obsidian games?
Yeah.
I mean, they sell
their last game. What was their last game they put out?
Was it The Outer Worlds?
The Outer Worlds. I like the Outer Worlds. I thought it was a great game. I like that one. But I'll be honest, I would like for more funding, and I'm not even sure it's a funding thing, right? I just would like for them to make a current gen game that kind of gets with the time, gets with the graphics, the gameplay, and just have a more appeal to everybody else.
Hey, can I ask you?
Maybe that's the angle.
Jay, can I ask you as a question? And even if you didn't play, just from what you saw, but I mean, I platinumed Horizon Forbidden West better than Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yes.
Yes. Right.
It is. Yes.
D back. D you back? Did I get D back? I don't know if I got D back yet or not. Death Singer.
Yeah.
Horizon Forbidden West better than Horizon Zero Dawn.
Played Forbidden West, Zero Dawn. I didn't like the game, so
I know you weren't a fan. I know you weren't a fan. You weren't a fan of either. Yeah, you weren't a fan of it at all. I understand that.
I mean, no, the game was great. The game visually was amazing.
We have too small of a census here. Wise, did you play either of those? Horizon Zero Dawn and Horizon Forbidden West?
I'm a huge fan of both. Basically.
And which one did you think was better?
Of course, Forbidden West.
Yeah, I mean, Aaron,
just more upgraded,
Aaron,
right? Of course, you upgrade the gameplay.
Aaron, I gotta, Aaron's a big Xbox guy. He's like, I sold my Xbox. Now he's a PC guy, and it's like, the PlayStation still sucks. Aaron, I don't know what to say to you, buddy. I mean, he goes, everybody knows Horizon Zero Dawn was better than Horizon Forbidden West. First of all, there's no doubt. There's no doubt.
You ride a fucking pterodactyl. What else do you need?
I don't even know how to. I mean, don't get me wrong. Is there somebody out there that probably liked the story better? Maybe in Zero Dawn, but I thought Forbidden West won in every category. Again, small census, not saying I'm 100% right, but what are we talking here? Shout out to Noof Nukem, boom boom kaboom. Great to have Noof Nukem here.
When any other game allows me to fight a robotic freaking turtle and Grimlock and Swoop in the same game, then you can call me. Other than that, no.
Yeah,
I'm a huge Transformers fan. Sorry.
Let me clarify too. Aaron goes, I'm a Nintendo Switch guy. Aaron, that's quite a drastic switch.
No pun intended.
Aaron, no pun intended. I mean, listen, Aaron, no offense, but everybody, even what Jay was saying, like, listen, I grew up with Nintendo. When the console wars were Nintendo versus Sega, and listen, I said this on the air, I'll say it again. I was a Nintendo guy. I know there's a lot of Sega Genesis fans out there, okay? I had a Genesis as well, but I was a Nintendo fanboy to the nth degree. I loved it. Loved it. So listen, I hear you, and I will still buy I am so tempted right now, not now right this second, but I've been deliberating for a week now to go get that new Mario game. Has anyone bought the new Mario?
Don't. Wait. It plays like crap.
I heard it straight out. That's the only reason I didn't go grab it. But I have everybody. Mario, Zelda, Metroid. I don't even care what you like. Any classic Kirby. I buy them. Like, so Aaron, we're all like deep down inside. I wouldn't say all. Never speak in absolutes, but. Legitimately, everybody in the chat right now, most people that have ever shown up on my panel, no matter, even if they make fun of Nintendo, they have a Switch and they buy Switch games. So you went from Xbox to Nintendo. Okay.
And best case scenario with Nintendo games, they don't go on sale. And guess what? Nintendo doesn't want them to go on sale. And guess what? They still sell. So there you go.
Two things. I get my games elsewhere. And the second thing, I was a Sega kid. We had heated debates over what was better.
Yeah, we all make mistakes in life, right?
No. Sonic is better than Mario. Sonic is better than Mario.
Come on, no way.
So Sonic and Knuckles is just an outer world experience. Nothing like it. Mario has never done anything.
Oh
like
my
it. But
God!
Anyway, that's another thing.
That's the thing. It's not PlayStation, Xbox. Now you say Sonic versus Mario. Now we're fighting. Now we're getting you to fight.
Right, but here's the thing. Like I was a Sega kid. My first console was the Sega Master System, right? So the first game I ever played was Sonic the Hedgehog. Right, so naturally I have an affinity with Sega, and then I had an affinity with Xbox, which is kind of where all the Sega refugees went after, because, that's just where all the Sega refugees went. But, it's like, but Nintendo, I get their games elsewhere because, they play better, because, 30 FPS just isn't for me, so.
Wow. I'll tell you. Yeah, I was definitely Mario over Sonic the Hedgehog. I mean, don't get me wrong. I was impressed with the speed of Sonic the Hedgehog and how great they made that. That really was a triumph that I have to give full credit to. But like at the end of the day, just pushing right on the, and just moving as fast as possible, going, you're just collecting rings and then not landing on a spike. I don't think that held a match to, like, let's just say Mario Brothers got any of the first three. Any of the first three.
I mean, but I mean, it's high speed, it's fast.
It was. The speed was amazing. The speed was amazing.
Like, and especially when they brought Knuckles into the mix, and you could do all
Knuckles was great. That was great. No, you're right. You're 100% right. That was D. D had to leave. I actually was happy to have Tails.
Being able to fly?
Being able to fly. I do have a couple super chats here real quick. So, Blessed Reddy came back. He said PS5 Pro had worse performance than the PS5, actually. So, Blessed Red was still going on about that was when we were talking about Alan Wake 2. Shout out to Blessed Red. I appreciate that. Omega Slasher, he says, he didn't say anything. I think he said he was making fun of this is an Xbox. He said I forgot to put it in the comment, but thank you for the super chat. Call me Vic. He says the Vita memory is because PlayStation wants to stop jailbreak because PSP is so bad with it. I think that was when we were talking about the Switch a moment ago. Shout out to Vic. Thank you. Glassdoor Gamer says Valve hates Microsoft for always trying to screw them. They have backed Linux due to hating Microsoft, and Windows games run better on Linux with Valve's Proton. No way to Valve help Xbox. So that's an interesting comment. You know what I mean, Death Singer? Because we always think that this is such, there was times when Phil was getting up years ago and he was really kind of pom-pomming, Steam. And I've noticed that's slightly taken a step back, Singer. Have you noticed that? He makes up a good point. I don't hear that anymore.
Mooch, the boss is giving me eyes. I got to run. So,
all right, Wise, thanks for being here, Wise. I appreciate it. We're just doing the fire round right now. But Wise Old Gamer, appreciate it.
What was that?
I was asking, do you still think that Steam, Valve and Microsoft have this good relationship? I think back in the day, I remember seeing Phil talk more about he would be like this love and admiration for Steam and Valve. And I don't hear that anymore. Is there some validity to what Glassdoor Gamer's saying?
mean, Gabe likes Phil from all things considered, and Gabe is our Lord and Savior Gabe, who owns Steam. It dominated the market, and I think there is a good relationship there. It's like, they put their games on their store, and they knew what they were doing, and it's like everyone's now approaching, PlayStation is approaching. The thing is, it's like, I think they have a good relationship, but I don't think they'd ever put Steam on a console. I think that's a bit far-fetched, because it makes no sense. Because the EA has their own launchers, but they still put their games on Steam. And it's like, that's because that's where most of the people will buy their games. Like, no one's going to run to EA Origin to go play Star Wars when they could buy it on Steam. Like, it's not going to happen. The only reason you go to those launches is to play the games. Like, you want to pay the $15 a month to play the game.
Yes.
That's when you go to their launches. So it's, I don't know. The relationship is good, but, I mean, so from what I could tell, obviously, you never know, right? We're not in the back.
No, but I have breaking news here, guys, from last week. Babor Country is back. Did you see that super chat? Let's read it out loud here, guys. Last week, Babor said, "I've had it. He's a huge PlayStation fan, said he's leaving for PC. Babor super chat says, Saturday, tried Steam, Ragnarok. It made me troubleshoot before starting. I don't troubleshoot outside of work. He says, F that. I got a Pro tonight. Babor's back. I wish I had some celebration music. Babor, welcome back home. The great Babor Country is here. Now the show starts. Babor, it's good to have you back. You got me real nervous last week. Remember, I don't know if you remember that singer. He was going to run to PC. He's done troubleshooting.
Hey, Mooch, yes. D is back. He said send him an invite so he can get back in.
Oh, so hold on a second. I think something. I think D actually. Hold on a second. That's why Jay's writing me. I think it's D. Hold on a second, guys. I gotta get D back into the. I think he left the Discord completely by accident.
Oh no!
It's all right. We'll get him back in here.
I don't know. It's like, wait. So he went to PC and then he's gone back to PlayStation. Oh man.
Let me see here because I don't see D. Shout out to D. D. I'm waiting for Jay, the great Jay, the Matrix Gamer. Everybody's writing me now because he wrote me a moment ago and he goes, "Is someone trying to get into the Discord?" Because Jay helps me out with my Discord. I said, "Geez, not that I'm aware of right now." And he goes, "So I'm waiting to see what he's going to say. If it's D, he can come back in. Of course, we want the great D Batch back with us. Of course." So Jay, if anyone's writing to D, I didn't see D there.
I am in a DM. D, he just said send invite. He got booted.
Yep. Some reason he got booted. We got to get the great D Batch back in here.
I told him to jump in. I told him.
The problem is until like Jay, because Jay actually, Jay the Matrix Gamer, you guys always see. I always talk about Jay. He helps me with my streams. Let me see what Jay says here. Oh, okay. I don't know. For some reason, the account was created. Yeah, that's fine. Sorry for the dead air, guys. I'm just letting Jay know.
Oh.
So, anyways, Jay, J-Dub, what is your take on Indiana Jones? I mean, I know, what's great about always talking. A lot of people don't know this about the great J-Dub Cities. Jay legitimately buys everything. He tries everything out. I like it when you do your launch game nights, Jay, where you'll actually go on and stream for a bit. That's fun. I mean, what did you think from what you saw initially? Is this something that you're excited for? I'm sure you're probably going to pick it up on PS5 Pro, but I mean, is it going to live up to the hype or not so much?
From the first time I saw it, I'm going to be honest. What I wanted and what a majority of the gamers wanted, they want an Xbox version of Uncharted or Tomb Raider because those games actually were created and they basically copied Indiana Jones. So we thought we would get Xbox's interpretation of Indiana Jones or Uncharted or whatever. And they ended up with this first-person game. And I understand the studio that make it only make the first person. I get it. But then the cutscenes are in third person. So watching the cutscenes, it's like, or the transitions, it's like, man, I wish I could play. I wish there was an option I can just turn it on and play in this. The combat looked wonky. The fighting glove to glove and stuff. Any first person game, the fighting like that has always kind of been wonky from that point of view. I'll be honest. I hope the game has major success. I hope it's highly received. I think it's going to be mid. It's going to have that Xbox stench on it. unfortunately. I hope I'm wrong, but man, listen, I just think it's going to be mid, and I think a lot of people are just not going to mess with it. They'll Game Pass it just to see how it is, and that's it. All right, we got D back. You want to pull him down? And
is D here?
Yeah, he's in the waiting room.
Hold on a second. There's D Batch. Yes. D.
There you go.
D, is that you? Just making sure.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, you're fine.
All right.
Did you make a new account?
No, I don't know. For some reason, it was asking me like I was a new account. I don't know what happened. It was weird.
I don't know, because I was talking to Jay, and Jay goes, it's weird, because he goes, it's not the same D, it's not D Batch, the account that was just here. It looks like a new account. And I go, I don't know, maybe he ran into a problem. Not sure, D, what happened there.
Yeah, it was I don't know. It was just wonky. I don't know what happened, to be honest.
No, so D, we were talking about Indiana Jones. If there was something else you wanted to comment on earlier, by all means, you can.
Yeah.
What were your...
on Indiana Jones, first, I was kind of annoyed because always the Xbox guys are on me. Oh, you're talking about PlayStation. Oh, you don't like Xbox anymore, which is the furthest thing from the truth. I still like Xbox. I just think the console is non-existent to me when I can play all of the games on PC via Game Pass. And if Microsoft doesn't care about that console, why should I? So I'm on PC. So they get mad at me for that stuff. But in the same breath, Indiana Jones comes out. Spiral, the Dragon Trilogy comes out. Some stuff comes out regarding Xbox. None of these guys are talking about it, right? They're all talking about Death Stranding. And I was shocked because from what I saw from Indiana Jones, I liked it. I thought the gameplay looked pretty good. I thought the graphics looked good. I thought the textures looked good. The only thing that I was disappointed on, I think most people were, is that this game is a first person. I think it really is a missed opportunity for them not to make this game a third person game because like Jay was saying, and I've been saying, everybody's been echoing the sentiment that Tomb Raider and Uncharted are pretty much, wannabe Indiana Jones games, right? They try to emulate that atmosphere, the tone, what you would think an Indiana Jones games would be. That's what those games shot for. So Microsoft, you finally get a shot at a really good franchise, and then you make it a first person. I think that kind of took the sail out of the winds for some people. But for me, overall, I thought it looked good. I think it's going to be a good game. I think it's staying true to what an Indiana Jones game should be outside of it being a first person. I still wish it was a first person, but outside of that, it looks really good. I'm excited to play it. It's going to be in Game Pass day and date, so it's a win, and it's going to come to PlayStation as well. So there we go.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think it's a win-win for everybody. The only thing I was saying with Machine Games, a lot of people were saying, hey, Machine Games makes great games, which they do. And they're stepping out of their comfort zone. A lot of people were a little bit, they thought maybe the hand-to-hand combat didn't look so great. But again, hard to tell. But that 14 minutes, I think they're going to really hit home, guys, as far as the essence of an Indiana Jones movie. And I know a lot of people, the part that makes me laugh, though, D, is like people our age, we grew up, Jay, Dessinger, I think you're younger than us, but you may have still grown up watching it. Like we grew up with Indiana Jones movies.
I did watch it,
right?
I watched Indiana Jones when I was younger.
But a lot of people
how young do you think?
Well, I thought you were younger. I apologize. I thought you were like 30 or something like that, or 28.
34.
Okay, I wasn't that far off. I'm guessing. But nonetheless, I will say there's a lot of people that are really eager to play Indiana Jones, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, man, I hope they enjoy it. I really, really do. But I mean, I think they're going to do a damn good job of following Indiana Jones lore and the way that those movies were played out. But if you weren't somebody that loved Indiana Jones, imagine if you never, you and Jay, I'll ask, and Detzinger, imagine you've never seen an Indiana Jones movie. Does the game hold that kind of weight still? No.
If it was a third person game, yes.
Okay, good point. That's a very good point. I mean, Jay, same thing I'll ask you. If you've never seen an Indiana Jones movie before, are you as excited? I mean, I'm excited because I liked the first few movies. These last couple they made were not so great. But I mean,
if I was not a old indie fan,
right,
and this was something new, I don't really care watching old farts in this story. It just doesn't. But because I know Indiana Jones and I grew up with the movies, then I've watched every single one. But I'll be honest, not at all. But guess what? I've watched the Uncharted movie, right?
Yeah,
with Tom Holland.
That's right.
It's some great characters, some new fresh stuff, some it's just indie kind of, after the 80s and 90s era, it became niche to that crowd. My kids don't know who Indiana Jones is. I can't even get them to watch any of those movies. They're like, Dad, whatever, get out of here.
Yeah, because the humor in it and all that, the famous line that you guys all remember when he's on the train and he's going around and he sees that the guy's coming, he doesn't have a ticket, and he ends up throwing the guy off the train. And he goes, "No ticket." That was it. Don't get me wrong. That one-liner, I'm not discrediting it. That one-liner back in the day, that I remember.
That was our shit.
People were laughing at that. Now, if that scene was to happen and our kids were all in the room, they'd be like if they wouldn't laugh, they'd be like.
The thing is, it's like Indiana Jones for me, like the game. It's like, sure, I grew up watching the movies. And then it's like, then I really didn't pay attention to it because, I got into different things. And it's like, these kinds of games are kind of iffy for me anyway.
Yeah.
The only reason I'm willing to check out this Indiana Jones game is, one, it's on Game Pass, so I don't have to come out of pocket for it. Two, it's made by Machine Games, and I'm willing to give Machine Games a shot because I absolutely love the Wolfenstein games.
Well, it's fun. Again, and I'm just doing an asterisk real quick, that's here, because everyone's always talking about nickel and diming with the PS5 Pro. No money out of pocket. Not true. You are paying for Game Pass.
I'm not though.
$240.
How are you not?
I got gifted.
Well, somebody did. Somebody paid for it.
Well, somebody did, but I didn't, so I'm not coming out of pocket.
Oh,
I got 2 years for free.
Well, I appreciate the mooching you doing that. I really do.
Hey, I appreciate who gave them away.
I'd like to meet that person. So
that person.
I'm pretty sure I do. Shout out to Firefighter Alf. He says, end of the day, this is interesting. The lore and story will be the only redeeming quality for Indiana Jones. Gameplay and graphics won't cut it. Nothing new to the table. Makes a good point there, because I kind of agree. I got to walk the line with him there, because I think the story's going to kill. I think it's going to be awesome. I think Troy Baker does an outstanding Harrison Ford. So I think I think the story's there. If you guys are there for the story, I think you're going to love this. I think if you're there for the gameplay and the whip action and the the hand-to-hand combat, if that's what you're going there for, I think you might not like it so much. If you're like, I don't know who this Indiana Jones guy is, but I'm up for this new game in Game Pass, it may fall short for you. Myself, I think I'm going to enjoy it because I'm looking forward to this story. And of course, I'm interested to see also how it's going to look on the PS5 Pro. It should look pretty good. But yeah, I think that's a good point right there as well. I think I have another. I may have a super chat too here, guys. I apologize. I'm falling behind. Lies of Phil says Dial Destiny flopped. Young people don't want indie. What is Dial Destiny?
Yeah, that's the Indiana Jones movie, the Dollar Destiny.
Oh, is that the one? I didn't watch the last. Is that one of the last 2 or 3? I didn't watch. I watched the first 3.
That was the one before the last one.
Okay, I was going to say, I did. Oh, is that the one with Shia LaBeouf?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did not watch that. But Liza Phil, absolutely right then. Yes, I heard it didn't do too well at the box office.
2023. Came out last year.
Glassdoor Gamer is back. He says, Xbox games always underdeliver when hyped, always rushed and mediocre. Indiana Jones will be a 6.5, 7 out of 10. Well, I think that's probably true.
Well, I mean, it depends on who you're asking, because I personally put Pentiment as a 8 or 9 out of 10, and I know people will be like, "What, you put Pentiment that high?"
God.
But the thing is, it's like but the thing is, it's like Obsidian's writing in that game is GOAT tier. Like that story, it will make you cry. It'll make you feel shit. Like.
Okay, so Death, listen. You're absolutely right from your point of view. Here's the problem. With most of us gamers, we won't get to experience the writing because the visual is the first thing you see in the game. If the visuals aren't up to the par, everything else we're not even going to get to that end point. You got to get us in. You get us in with the visuals, Then you get us in. Then you continue. We continue with the story and the gameplay. But if those visuals is bland, it's hard for me to look. And I've played some pretty shitty games in my day. I've played all of the lowest rated Xbox games that we mock and stuff. I've played those. I've streamed those games. But I'm just telling you, that's why I said what I said earlier. You can have like a 10 out of 10 writing, but why can't I have my 10 out of 10 writing and great graphics and great gameplay? What's so hard about that? Why do you just want to be known for? That's like having a chick, right? She has a nice rack but an ugly face and no ass. Like, why can't I have a chick that has a lot of all of it? Like,
then again, it just depends on people's tastes. It's like, do you take Baldur's Gate 3? It won every single major award that no other game has done.
It had great graphics, great gameplay.
No, but it's not. No, it didn't have great. That's not a God of War. That's not Horizon level graphics.
It don't have to be, but it's still visually pleasing. It don't have to be the. You know what I'm saying, man. I mean, we've played some great RPGs in our life. We've played some great games in our life that don't have to be the Ratchet and Clank graphically or the whatever graphically, but they can be good looking games. Xbox knows how to make good fucking looking games, so this is not trivial.
But the thing is that it all depends what you personally feel about a game. Like Horizon, when I played it, visually stunning, gameplay great. Aloy was a fucking cardboard of a character, zero personality. I immediately checked the fuck out. Like, I can't vibe with the main character being this way. No, thank you. I'll peace out.
I'm glad you said that, because I think that's what that disconnect is with most of us in you, right? It's specifically you, because you, like you said, the whole Pentiment thing, you said some of the other games that you said, and I think you got to realize it's a majority rule, right? If the majority, they make these games for them to sell. And yeah, they can make a game that sell to just a handful of people or a small group of people that just like everything going the way it's going. But when you want to expand your horizon and sell to more people and bring in new people, and in order to do that, you have to grow. You have to get better at things.
You have
like,
to,
for example,
you have to evolve.
For example, let me tell you this. Is it Guerrilla Games, right?
Mm-hmm.
They made Killzone, the last Killzone, Shadowfall. Beautiful looking game, still holds up to current gen this day. Still looks great. Had great gameplay. The story, I can't remember the name of the character to save my life. I could care less about any of those characters in the game, right? So that was horrible writing. You know what they did? They went out, they hired some Hollywood writers. They ended up getting their writing down, getting the experience, and learning from what failed. They made a new IP called Horizon Zero Dawn, right? The graphics were already there, right? They already had the graphics nailed down, so that wasn't an issue. It was the writing. And they had better success with Horizon Zero Dawn, which led to Horizon Forbidden West, which led to everything else, right? So you find out those things. You're supposed to constantly, as a studio and as a company, find out where you're lacking and fill in those voids. And make that will make. So guess what? If they ever decide to go back and do a Killzone game, at least we know the writing won't be the weak part of it anymore, because they finally know that, hey, we have to get some good writing going. Now, you can have a game with great writing, but if the graphics is horrible or mid, a lot of people generally you're not going to get to see the writing. And that was my point.
But, well, it depends on the individual gamer, though. This is like a whole opinion base. It depends what you look for in a game. It's like, do you think someone who primarily plays on the Switch cares how great a game looks, like a God of War or Spider-Man? Or do they just want to play Animal Crossing, which is farming on a fucking island, right? Like, it's the same kind of thing where everyone has their own what they look for in a game. And me personally, I've experienced a lot of indie and AA games which aren't visually impressive, but that stand out amazing games that people wouldn't give a chance because of the way it looks. Because it doesn't look that way. But I gave it a chance because I'm more invested in what they're trying to sell me than looking past the graphics. But that's just me personally. It's like, would I say someone would play like Baldur's Gate 2 or Pillars of Eternity or something? No, because they only sold like 2 million copies. I know a lot of people didn't play those games.
Yeah.
But I was one of them, and I gave it a chance. I'm like, you know what? I'll give it a chance.
Mhm.
Does it look graphically amazing? No. But when I got in there, the world dragged me in. I was invested in the story. The characters brought me in.
Mhm.
It's a turn-based game, so the gameplay is what it is. But it's like, I'm actually having a fantastic time in this world. So it all depends. Graphics isn't the be-all and end-all for me. You need to sell me on more than that for me to get you into your game. But that's just a personal choice.
And that's true. But my thing is, right, why can't I have it all?
I wish we could have it all.
And here's the thing with Xbox, right? Here's the thing with Xbox. With that company and that hardware and that ecosystem and that whatever, exclusively, they're the ones that have this problem with that, right? They have all of this power. You remember they were the world's most powerful console, but they didn't have any games that showed off the hardware. And most of their games were more cartoony and Sea of Thievish and Avowed-ish and stuff. And that's why a lot of people were let down by Avowed, because the original trailer they showed looked like it was going to be some graphically demanding, really nice stuff. And then when they showed it, we got the Craig looking cartoon character, and it's like, oh my God, enough Xbox with all of these games that look the same cartoony. Give us we want some ray tracing. We want some flashy graphics. Why can't we get a combination of that? PlayStation gives us that.
Yeah. Can I ask a question, Singer, to you real quick? I have a question for Singer.
Yeah,
Singer, so is there a way for me to buy Windows 11 without, because I'm still running Windows 10. Is there a way for me to buy Windows 11 without having to pay a subscription service monthly?
I don't know, because I'm still on Windows 10 because I refuse to upgrade because I know Microsoft sucks.
We have to.
First released an operating system.
We're going to all be forced to upgrade next year, I hear, or October of 25.
No, not me.
You have to pay $30. They'll allow you to keep using it, but you got to pay $30.
Okay, good.
The thing is, it's like, because obviously
that's good.
I know how it goes with the operating systems. That's why I'm staying on 10 deliberately.
I'm still on 10 as well. Yes.
I'm gonna wait a couple of years till they get all the bugs and stuff fixed, because it's still buggy as shit. And then once it's usable, I'll go over there. But when they release Windows 12, I'm gonna stay on 11, because I know for a fact that shit is gonna be garbage when it launches, and then I'll wait for it to get better over time. I've always done this because I just don't trust them to release a complete product at launch. Shout out to Microsoft, by the way, still being Microsoft. But, you know, whether it's Xbox or Windows, or their shitty store that's on PC that they still need to fix. Because I guarantee you, if they fixed their Windows store, they'd have way more Game Pass subscribers on PC.
I'm doing the same thing you're doing.
People don't like the store.
I'm doing the same thing you're doing, Death Singer. I want to say shout out real quick to Hip Hop Gamer, who's in the chat. Yo, it's an honor to have Hip Hop Gamer with us here. He's been on the show before. Hip Hop Gamer, we got to have you back on the show. I see you doing your thing out there, man, on X, and out there calling. I think he's the first to call Hellblade 2 coming to PlayStation 5, amongst other things. So shout out to Hip Hop Gamer. Hip Hop, I'll definitely DM you again on X. We got to get him back on the show, man. It's been too long. And he's got a lot of news to share, too. So shout out to him. I appreciate him stopping by the show, man. That means a lot. He's doing a lot of things out there, meeting some of the biggest people in gaming, some of the biggest people in Hollywood, as a matter of fact. He said shout out to you as well, J-Dub.
Salute, my brother. Salute.
But you know, I am with Death Singer in that I'm not moved. I'm still on Windows 10, and as long as I can stay here, I'm there. Whatever it is, if it's a $30 charge, that's fine. I'll pay that.
No.
Oh, D, what's wrong? D, talk to me. What's the problem?
Now, I was on Windows 10 for a while. Like, I've been on Windows 11 for a while, but I was on Windows 10, and I decided not to switch over, and then I switched over to Windows 11, and my gaming performance was much better. My apps were running better, like just the system in general. It was just running much better than it being on Windows 10. Now I'm on Windows 11. There was another update. I believe it was Windows 11 24H or something like that.
Yeah.
And that update even netted me more gaming performance. They fixed a lot of stuff with AMD processors on that update, and I'm getting way better gaming performance on it. So Windows 11, you should switch over. It's better. I don't know what you're waiting for. It's better.
Well, wait, so D, let me ask you though. I'm glad you said that. I'm seeing a couple people in the chat. Shout out to Captain Chats in the chat. He says I have no problems at all at Windows 11. D, can I? But is that a one-time purchase for me to get Windows 11, or is it a monthly fee?
Windows 11's free. It's a free upgrade from Windows 10.
Well, then I'm going to do that.
Free.
Okay. I don't know. Well, so Detsinger, what's the problem? D's giving you a vote of confidence right there.
Hey, I'm staying on Windows 10. Like I don't care what anybody says. No one can convince me.
What reasons are you staying on Windows 10? Give me one reason.
I'm staying on Windows 10 for one because I prefer this UI over that whole new UI they got on Windows 11. I prefer the way everything's set up now. And sure, I'll switch over. I'm not that much of a stickler, but I'll just give it a while until I have to switch over. It's just one of the things I do. It's like I have no problems with Windows 10. My games run fine, so I have no reason to switch over. They're running worse
than Windows 11, and in all honesty, the UI is like 2% different.
I'm just I'm just gonna stay on my Windows 10.
And also too, on Windows 10, you're gonna stop getting security updates. Honestly, tell you, I think it's just a case of I don't want to switch because there's no logical reason to be on Windows 10 because everything is worse about it. If you're worried about the UI, it's like a 2% difference. It's like barely any different.
Yeah, from what I saw, it's not that big of a difference. Because honestly, Singer, I'm usually in your camp with the UI change and being familiar where everything is. I did kind of look it up. 11 looks pretty damn similar. It's not. There are changes. But it's nothing drastic.
I mean, there are changes, but I'm just going to stay where I am until it no longer receives updates and then upgrade. And I did that before Windows 10 came out. I did the exact same thing. I waited. And it's just something I do. I mean, I have no problem changing over to things. It's like
but Windows 11's been out for so long. It's been out. There's like what are you worried about? Everything there's no issues on Windows 11 at all. In fact, you get better performance with your apps. You get better performance with memory. You get better performance with your games.
Yeah.
Like it just makes no sense.
No,
it doesn't make sense, but I just don't want to switch, and it is what it is.
He's stubborn. It's okay. That's fine.
So I see so many people in the chat. They're always giving Singer so much shit. I love it.
I love it because they're all fans of me.
They love you. They love you, Singer. Exactly. They love you.
Well, the thing is, I have a more unique taste in games as well to the typical gamer because I play all these games and people will be like, I don't even know what the fuck that is. Like if I told you what's Pathfinder Kingmaker, what game is it? What type of game is it? Who makes
what is it? Pathfinder
Kingmaker. Don't look it up.
I'm not. I'm not, and I don't know.
We have no interest in anything. Call it.
Is that a Diablo style game?
It's an RPG. No, it's a typical RPG, right?
Idea.
And it's made by Owlcat Games. But the thing is, it's like it's a fantastic RPG. It is a fantastic game. I advise everyone to play it, but it's like no one's really gonna pluck that out. So I have a rather, I play all the RTS games. I play Stellaris, Total War. I'm not your average gamer.
Wait, Blessed Red is saying no, Mooch. Windows 11 is a monthly fee.
Windows 11 is not a monthly fee. What are they talking about?
I don't know.
They may have. It's been a while since
I was gonna say I did hear that. That's why I brought it up. I wasn't.
I'm on Windows 11 right now.
Never mind. No, never mind.
Yeah, but you probably grandfathered in.
No. Now Blessed Red saying why would it be a monthly fee?
Okay. Wait. Hold on. Here it is. Straight from Microsoft. Windows 11 is available as a free upgrade for some Windows 10 PCs, but some versions require a subscription. So I guess it depends on what version.
No?
I mean, maybe the Enterprise edition or something.
I've installed the Home edition. I've installed the Pro edition, and there's no monthly charge.
Okay, good. That's great to know.
I might be talking about maybe Microsoft 365, where you get all the Office stuff, maybe, but Windows 11 straight ass is.
I think it's the Enterprise edition. It has to be like a business.
Hey, Mooch,
edition.
Yes.
I have to say your chat has a great taste in games. Because shout out to Ranting Greek Gamer.
Yes, right.
He loves it. There's loads of love for Pathfinder. Shout out to all of you having a great taste.
RGG is outstanding. Great to have RGG with us here.
I see people, Stellaris, 400 hours in it. Loads of people are loving these games. See, these are my kinds of people, yo. We love great games that a lot of people don't play and they don't understand the greatness of the game.
Those are PC centric games, right? So that
yeah,
makes
I mean
sense.
they are PC centric.
Nobody on console is trying to play that.
Blessed Red, let me just explain the Blessed Red. He says, "Does Mooch think he's paying monthly fees?" No, I'm not paying monthly fees for Windows 10. Blessed Red, I said I had read it. I didn't know if it was just a one-liner. I was making sure that it wasn't. I have the great D Batch and Death Singer here that legitimately I knew D was 11. I thought Death Singer was as well because he PC games. And by the way, Dessinger, I understand you staying with 10. That's not a slight at all. I'm just saying I wanted to ask these guys because they would know. I'm still on Windows 10. No, I'm not paying a monthly fee. No, I'm not. Shout out to Glassdoor Gamer. He comes back. Pardon me. Babor Country says reviewing Pro and including price is misinformation. Recommending PC in its place is disingenuous. I see you guys pretend devs with cybersecurity certifications. Shout out to Babor. Glassdoor Gamer says switch to Linux unless you use Adobe. And then Babor says Windows 365 is the subscription. And then he says, God. Well, Babor has a very short temper, guys. I don't know if you guys know that, but it's very short. That being said, guys, it is a 3-hour mark just about here on the show. I was able to mooch the great D Batch for 3 hours. Don't ask me how I did it, guys. I'm kind of a magician. I don't know how I was able to do it because D was like, I'll give you a good hour, Mooch. And then he was like, I'll stay a little longer, Mooch. And I got 3 hours out of the great D Batch, which is always awesome. So great show, guys. Please hit the like button before you guys do leave. Subscribe if you haven't. Your name comes up in lights. I didn't get a chance to do the intro. Crap went right into his rant. So we didn't get a chance to do an intro early on, but I'll go in reverse order and I'll let D go home early because D stayed for 3 hours. The great D Batch. D, honestly, glad you stayed the whole time because this show flew. I'm not going to lie to you. Yeah. I looked down. It was 3 hours. 3 hours. The great Mary Wilcox says, Mooch, you're a wizard. Absolutely. No, just a Mooch. D, let everybody know where they can find you, buddy, and thanks so much for being here. And I love what you're doing on X. Honestly, you're probably one of the most just entertaining accounts to follow. So D, make sure you let people know where they can follow you.
Yeah, sure, man. Of course, you can follow me on X at dbatch, BATCH, DEE, on YouTube at dbatch, of course. It was a pleasure being on the show today. We had so much stuff to discuss, so I really wanted to be here because there's a lot going on in the gaming sphere right now. And I just want to kind of take this opportunity to share my PS5 Pro impressions. Now, for those that are on the fence on this console, I think it's a substantial upgrade over the PlayStation 5 Pro. I think there's a lot of games that really showcase the difference. Now, some games that aren't showing a big difference is because, they're not patched to take advantage of PlayStation 5 Pro.
Yeah.
I think when developers... like newer games coming out, developers are going to specifically target the advantages of the Pro, and you're going to really see where that system shines. Now, I've seen a lot of comparisons of people trying to compare the PlayStation 5 Pro to PC, and they fail every single time they try to build it. You just cannot build it for the same price. So the price and performance and value that you get out of the PlayStation 5 Pro, forget it. It's not happening. For all the people that say, oh, it's not reaching a 4070, in many games, it's reaching the 4070 level. Nobody was saying it's going to reach 47 levels of ray tracing. It was, rasterization performance. Right. And the ray tracing is fantastic on it. PSSR is better than FSR. We're getting games, we're getting 80, 100 FPS. We're on the base model, we're getting like 40, 60 FPS. It's a good upgrade. It's like 250 more than the base PlayStation 5. You can trade in your PlayStation 5.
Yes.
You can sell it privately to offset it. If you get a PlayStation 5 Pro, and you sold your old PlayStation 5 and you have some extra controllers, you can sell a controller to offset the price. You don't need a stand, contrary to what people tell you. And I was one of those people that bought the stand. And I'll be honest, when I took the PlayStation 5 Pro out of its packaging and I saw that it was standing on its own, I was like, holy crap, why did I get a stand for this thing? Because it stands, it's not going to tip over any differently than it would tip over if it had a stand. So it's secure. I think you need to really see the advantage of it. You need to have a good 4K 120 hertz TV that has VRR
Yes.
to really take advantage of some of these modes, especially the unlocked modes, for you to see a big performance uptick. If you're like on a 60 FPS monitor, you know, you're probably better off sticking with the PlayStation 5 Pro. I mean, the PlayStation 5, although the Pro will give you better image quality, you're not getting all of the benefits from it. So I would say that. I think there's some cheap TVs you can get out there.
Yeah.
I know I used to do a lot of TV coverage on my channel, and I'll probably do some more in the future, especially coming towards Black Friday. But right now, you can get a TCL. I get the model number. I'll put it on my X account, and it's about the model is about 550 US, and it's a TCL monitor, 55 inches, 4K, 120 hertz, HDMI 2.1. Gives you all the bells and whistles, and that is a great TV. You may say, "Oh, it's cheap, so it's not good." No, TCL makes some really good budget TVs that rivals some of their bigger, brothers like Samsung TVs. So I think that's an option. Another thing I want to say is that some other channels are doing testing too. I've seen some testings with a 7800 XT. I believe Linus Tech Tips did this. They built a PC rig trying to beat the PlayStation 5 Pro, and they beat it in the price, but they didn't beat it traditionally. They used their I forget what they call it, hardware wars or some crap that they do where they just try to get the cheapest used parts. So they built it with all used parts pretty cheap, which is not traditionally what's going to happen. I think they were like maybe $50 off.
Because they should have used a used PS5 Pro if they're going to use used parts.
And it was still missing stuff from the PlayStation 5, like Wi-Fi 7 and stuff.
Yep.
But anyways, it was a 7800 XT, had a better CPU in it, and it wasn't beating the PlayStation 5 Pro. It was a 7800 XT. They compared Ratchet and Clank. They compared The Last of Us. They compared Ratchet and Clank, The Last of Us, and something else. Oh, and Dragon's Age. And it performed better on the PlayStation 5 Pro. There was a few little instances where maybe one aspect of the upscaling might have been better on the PC because it had a little bit more compute, because the 7800 XT is more powerful than a 4070, much less. So there was a little compromise there on image quality, and it was just one game where they were like, yeah, this part of it looks better, but this part looks better on this game. So it's a win and a lose, But performance-wise, that 7800 XT was not outperforming the PlayStation 5 Pro. And they even said, you know what, I would have to give it to the PlayStation 5 Pro in this game, or I have to say it's a tie. Yeah, and that's a 7800 XT. Once again, that performs better than a 4070. We see Dragon's Dogma. They compared a 6800 with a 5600X CPU. It could not perform like the PlayStation 5 Pro. And a 6800 is 10% less than a 4070, and it was getting more than 10% better performance on the PlayStation 5 Pro. So you can do the math. People could cherry pick all the instances that they want, but I'm telling you, as someone that's been playing this console, it is you notice the difference. There is a difference in performance. And once again, when developers start to really target the extra features of the PlayStation 5 Pro, you're going to see multiplats looking and running better on the PlayStation 5 Pro. Yeah. And the first game that's going to blow gamers' minds away with this, of course, is going to be next year when Grand Theft Auto comes out. It's going to look and run best on the Pro. Indiana Jones is going to look best and run on the Pro. I think Black Ops 6 just got a PlayStation 5 Pro patch. So it is what it is. It's better. Yeah. Stop coping.
Wait, what did you
thinking Xbox is better, or it's going to get some type of patch to perform like the PlayStation 5 Pro, or that has machine learning capabilities similar to the PlayStation 5 Pro. These are all fallacies. Like, PlayStation 5 Pro is a fantastic machine.
Yeah. D, what did you say just got an update? What game?
I believe I heard
Friday.
Myself,
comes out on
I heard
Friday.
that Black Ops 6 got its PlayStation 5 Pro.
Yeah, I think it's. I heard tomorrow, which is exciting. I'm excited to see how that's going to fare. D, you should do a side-by-side comparison. That'd be a great video.
There is a caveat. There is a caveat. What D said, though, it depends on your rig. Because if you have a 4090, and the PS5 would never be able to match it. But it depends on what rig you're running. So no.
Would you pin a Lamborghini versus a Honda Civic? Come on, what are we doing?
Well, no. But it's like if you say, "Oh, the game performs better than PC," you also
he didn't say that though.
He gave the specific specs.
Exactly.
That Linus used.
Yeah, if you're running that specific specs, then yes, it is
he never said that the PS5 Pro would outdo every PC or even a more powerful PC. He said he gave the specific specs because they tried to build a PS5 Pro clone, but based on PC. And that PS5 Pro outdid that PC with those specific specs.
Because it's a dumb idea trying to do that.
But he said that. No one ever said that a 4090 or...
nobody. And listen, if I could say this, Jay, like if we're really being serious here, if we look at the Steam charts, most PC users, they're rocking like a 3060, man, and below.
Yeah.
Like everyone says, oh, I got a 4070, I got a 4080, I got a 4090. Yes. I do have a 4090, but I'm telling
less than 1% own a 4090.
Not many people have a 4090. Not many people have a 40. You know what mostly
80,
they have? They have like a 4070 laptop, which isn't even the same performance as a 4070.
That's still on a 3060 level, 3050 Ti.
So like it's outperforming a lot of PC guys' rigs. That's why they're coming out and being pissed off because their little rigs don't compare to it. Now nobody's saying a 4080 or a 4070 Ti or a 4090 is not going to beat the PlayStation 5 Pro. It's going to beat it, and it's like freaking 3-4 times the cost. That whole system for $700, what you're getting for the PlayStation 5 Pro. Good luck building that on a PC to get even close performance.
Also, it also depends on what. Like, I prefer. I don't like to game at 4K. I prefer 1440p. That just works for me because it's the best graphics to performance that I think is the best for me.
Okay.
So obviously you have it all because it's like on the 4070, it's like Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. You're running ultra ray tracing settings, 1440p, 120 FPS. So you're like, okay, this is good because you're getting the 120 FPS, you're getting the ray tracing, but you're also you're at 1440p. You're not at 4K, sure, but the visual quality at 1440p still fantastic. So I don't know. It all depends. Like,
I'll be asking.
But these consoles are trying to target 4K, not 1440p.
Well, they're trying
different combinations, right? So
exactly.
Goals.
Well,
think about it though. For $699, you can have a console that'll do advanced ray tracing. It'll do basically 4K 60 and everything, and it'll give you, obviously, you got your first party games there, your third party, you got Xbox games there. For that all in one box. You don't have to tinker, you don't have to do all this stuff. You just buy that little box, take it on, plug it up, and you're good to go. I think for the majority of people, that's why they're on console.
Yeah, it really is.
The thing is, I give that to the PS. It is the best console. If you're a primary console gamer, the PS5 Pro is the way to go. If you only game on console, you don't give a rat's ass about PC. You're just like, nope, don't want to deal with none of that.
Yeah.
Get yourself a PS5 Pro.
You heard it here first from the great Death Singer, everybody. An endorsement.
That's just a factual statement. It's like just get yourself a PS5 Pro. It's not. It's a no-brainer.
I'm gonna clip that, Mooch. Clip it.
Could you clip that,
please?
First time
ever.
Shout out to Blessed Red. He says LTT should have used a used 3080 DLSS over FSR2. I think everybody agrees with the DLSS comment for sure. Absolutely. D, great to have you. D, I'll be paying attention to, especially as we get close to the Cyber Monday deals too. I'm going to be D. I'm telling you, I'm going to absolutely be talking to you nonstop because I'm going to be in the market for a good monitor for the PS5 Pro and also the PC. So it'll be great. I appreciate you being here, guys. Do go over and follow D Batch. D, did you tell them where they can find you?
Yes, I did.
All right, I apologize.
Tell them again.
Please.
D-Batch on YouTube, D-Batch on X.
Guys, go over and follow the great D-Batch. The great J-Dub City. Jay, great to have you on tonight, buddy. I appreciate it when you're always here, especially a week like today. Today was just amazing. I mean, the news that came out today, and we even saw some of the Rolling Stones quotes coming out during live on the show tonight. So just this is just when you're in your glory, Jay. So let everybody know they can find you, and thanks for being here tonight, Jay.
Anytime, brother. It's always great chopping it with you guys. You guys can find me on Twitter at JWCity16, man. I always trying to keep you guys laughing. with the memes in the comments and stuff like that.
Yes.
Listen, it's been one hell of a week. Actually, a hell of a 2 weeks. Right, we had the PS5 Pro last week, and today, you know, some more clarification from Phil Spencer that'll probably change in the next few hours.
Of course,
as
it
usual.
will. That's right.
Listen, I'm gonna leave it at this, guys. Just listen. Make your life stress free. Just go buy a fucking PlayStation and move on with life. You don't have to feel like you're in this endless cycle of this roller coaster of drama with Xbox. If they really wanted your dollars, if they really cared about their console, they would make sure that that's the best place to play their games. But it's not. The PlayStation is the best place to play their games. So take that and do with it whatever you will. But just like let's stop. Enough. You know, that's what we're gonna do. And I'm out.
Yo, great to have the great J-Dub City with us. Shout out to everybody in the chat as well. The great Death Singer, let everybody know they can find you, buddy. And as always, I'm telling you, the chat just falls more and more in love with you every week. Singer, let everyone know they can find you, buddy.
You know what's crazy? They call me a PC refugee.
Xbox refugee.
An Xbox refugee?
Yes.
The thing is, I was playing Windows 95. I was playing Windows 98. I had a PC. I was on dial-up, right? Shout out to AOL sending me the free disc every month in the post. You know, have some free online playing like the OG games, Age of Empires 2.
That's it.
I apologize. I apologize. I'm live on air. I apologize to you because I created that term for you on Twitter, whatever. Because I assumed I was wrong. I just assumed you were the Xbox guy that switched to X. Like these guys, right? They just so happened switched to PC because Xbox wasn't giving them the wins that they wanted and the things that they wanted. So they suddenly switch and they claim PC Master Race. But apparently you're an old head in the PC space. So therefore I take that back, brother. And because of some of the games that you mentioned that I do play, I can see that you're an old head, and guess what, man? I totally apologize.
Jay, that was
I won't have to pick on you, man.
I mean, playing RuneScape in school. I mean, on the school computers at lunch, you run into the computer room and you're like, quick, let's jump on and play some RuneScape. And you do stuff like that. And shout out to games like Descent, shout out to the original Duke Nukem.
Absolutely.
Doom.
That's funny.
I've been
Soldier
PC
Fortune.
For years.
I didn't know that. So I apologize.
Yeah.
You are.
Hey, man, it's cool. It's something I don't declare in my gaming history.
That singer, you were like, listen, I've been playing PC for ages. He's like, I was on Oregon Trail and Minesweeper for ages.
Shout out to Minesweeper.
He went all the way back. He was like, oh man, that singer, you never cease to amaze me, my brother. I swear to God. But that singer, let people know they can find you, buddy. Great to have you.
Yeah, great to be here. Great chopping up with everyone. You can find. I love the chat. Shout out to you guys. You can find me Saturday 7 p.m. Eastern with the Asher Luca, Forte, and Slomo doing Scumcast. Chopping it up over there. Fantastic time. And then, yeah, you can find me everywhere. Just Dessinger playing all these games that no one seems to know about. So, yeah,
well, you're informing the audience, Dessinger. That's what we're here to do, is bring news to the audience. Guys, go over and check out also tomorrow, the Great Gaming Forte and Slow-Mo Backslap will be doing DPS podcast tomorrow night. They moved it to tomorrow night. They're usually Thursdays at 9 p.m., but they are doing it tomorrow night. So shout out to those guys. And just a couple of shout outs to the guys who had to leave early. Brap, hopefully will be back next week. Shout out to Brap at Brap_podcast. He's doing his show tomorrow. I don't think he did it Wednesday. He said he was moving it to Friday. So he'll be doing Friday at 8 or 9 p.m. Shout out to the great Tim Dog. Known Tim for, God, how long has it been now? I've known Tim since 2013 at least. Maybe even before that. Shout out to the great Tim Dog. Great to have Tim on the show. Always good to talk games with him. The great D-Back show. We already discussed the great D-Back. And Nib couldn't make it tonight. I don't know where Nib's probably somewhere having outstanding food. And I wish I was there as well. Shout out to Nib. It's at Nib95_. Hopefully we'll get Nib back on next week. And of course, the great Crap Gamer who had to leave a little bit earlier. He says it's at _Crap Gamer. It's Crap Gamer Reviews. You guys are all awesome. We are going to be back next Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern. I was just talking to the great Jay, the Matrix Gamer. Hopefully we're going to be doing some more Twitch streams. Like to get back on that. We're going to work over the weekend, get some of the things up to date that we have to do. Guys, outstanding panel. Thanks to Mary Wilcox. Shout out to Firefighter Alf that was there. Johnny Gaming. I saw a bunch of you guys that were here. You're all amazing. We'll talk to you guys next Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern. Hit that like button on the way out. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't yet. It's a great channel. We'll see you guys later. Play some games. Talk next week. Peace out. Good night.
Peace.